The rat race lifestyle in America is a lifestyle that most people are used to, but it has come to a halt. So tonight we're going to talk about celebrities, us mimicking celebrities, and us remembering, as we should for those who have been following my show, that we need to put ourselves first. We need to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first, because if we don't put that oxygen mask, if we don't put that mask on ourselves first, we are going to have a hell of a lot of problems. You are watching Shirley's World. Make sure you guys get the thumbs up, get the likes up. Make sure you make a donation, because it makes a difference in my pocketbook, and it makes a motivation for me to say, should I do more videos? And you guys have been saying that you love them, and I'm appreciative of it. So tonight we're going to talk about D.L. Hughley again, because I had a couple of people personally contacted me and said, hey, what's going on? What's going on with that video? Because it really made me take a deep look at myself, especially for those of us who are around entertainers and their lifestyle. And if they're not making it, and I did that video, I told you, Cheesecake Factory notified everybody very early in the game, look, we are not going to be paying no rent because we don't have the money. If Cheesecake Factory's hurting, D.L. Hughley's hurting, where do we fall in line of these people who give the illusion as if they got it together? Because, honey, they don't. But I want to talk about the rat race lifestyle. Now, what is a rat race lifestyle? Let the computer tell you.
The rat race is an endless, self-defeating, or pointless pursuit. The phrase equates humans to rats attempting to earn a reward such as cheese in vain. It may also refer to a competitive struggle to get ahead financially or routinely. The term is commonly associated with an exhausting, repetitive lifestyle that leaves no time for relaxation or enjoyment.
I think that's what D.L. Hughley was going through. I really believe D.L. Hughley was going through that rat race, and it affected him immensely. And that's one reason why I never understood why he went back on the road, knowing that COVID-19 is out there and you need work. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to talk about Dave Chapelle. I found a very interesting video on Dave Chapelle that Collins did when he started talking about guns and who were the people in guns. And so Dave Chapelle did a huge video on that. There was a video done on Dave Chapelle, and I wanted to share that. I was the first person to talk about Dave Chapelle and Candace Owen, and it was really irate, not irate, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just ironic. Thank you, Jesus. It was kind of ironic that not too long after that, Dave Chapelle did his 846 video on Netflix. So if you look at the timing of when that was released and when we did our video with Dave Chapelle and Candace Owen, I felt he was right on point with Candace Owen. Overrated, overlooked at, all that. It's just too much. She's too much. She's too young. She's still dumb. She still has a lot to learn. And that's all I'm going to say about Candace Owen. But I will give props to Dave Chapelle, because I adore Dave Chapelle, and Dave could do no wrong, even if he gets things right or wrong. But we are going to talk about guns, Dave Chapelle, the NRA, and Black Panthers. I think that's important that we have this conversation. So let me see. I've got a couple of people who are chiming in. And thank you so much, Integrity Rocks. You are amazing. Hopefully you can hear me. I want to double check my YouTube channel, make sure everything's going good. I've got a couple of people guess who will be coming in, which is pretty good. But that rat race, I don't know if you guys ever, Kiyosaki's book, The Rat Race, and the game, The Rat Race, that is one of my favorite games to play. And since a lot of us are still COVID-19, basically infused to stay home, I want to encourage you guys to look at The Rat Race. I want to encourage you guys to consider to purchase the game, since you're home, and purchase the book, The Rat Race. Another book, let me show you The Rat Race real quick, because The Rat Race plays a big part. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the chat room this string now. So if those who want to come in, we're going to talk about again. We're going to talk about the 70% loss, because we've all won and lost money. And I think emotionally that triggered a lot of people to want to know more about that. And then we're going to talk about Dave Chapelle's comment and the review of the 846, because again, we did the comparisons of Candace Owen. We're not going to do Candace Owen we're done with that one. But we're going to talk about his statement regarding the Black Panthers, and we're going to talk about the statement regarding the guns and a little historical history behind that. But before I do, I want to talk about the rat race. The lifestyle that we're living right now is affecting us because we're put at a halt. So what do we do with all this money if we have money, if we don't have money? I told you in my last video, COVID-19 is a mirror. You need to look at the mirror in which you are standing in front of. You're looking at your body, you're looking at your finances, you're looking at the people you're living with, you're looking at the people you have to sleep and eat with, you're looking at the so-called friends you thought were friends who ain't friends, you're looking at your boss, you're looking at your job, you're looking at the neighborhood that you're living in, you're looking at your elected officials, you're looking at your president, you're looking at a lot of things you would normally, I won't say take for granted, but you knew that it was always there. And the problem with the COVID-19 mirror that we're all looking at, the there that has always been there is affecting our lives. If we are irresponsible towards self, stay with me, get the like buttons up and share this video on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Please share this video on YouTube and just share it with your friends, personally text them, let them know that I'm on, that I'm talking, that if you've enjoyed my videos and you've enjoyed the intellectual conversation that we've had with our guests, it is important that you guys share because it makes a difference in the ideologies of showing intellectual people who have something on the table to bring that has a different substance and vibrancy in the community, within the Black community. But if we were going to look at, again, ourselves in the COVID-19 mirror, we have to ask ourselves, how the hell am I going to come out of this? Am I going to come out with more money? Am I going to come out fatter? Most of us are looking like Rona. I said, do you look like Rona? Has Rona been on your body? Do you have about 5 or 10% more Rona on you? And don't feel bad because we're all fighting through Rona. We're fighting through Rona. You're eating more. You're depressed. People are getting on your nerves that you didn't know that you lived with this. I just don't like you. You just want to say to them, I just don't like you. And you probably have said that. So what is the solution? Well, the solution is the control of the noise. The noise of the media, the noise of the Karens and the Kevins, the noise of racism and Black Lives Matter and Biden and Trump. The noise is loud right now. It's sounding right now. And the question I want to know, can you block it out to hear your peace? Integrity says, peace family. I love that because we have to find that peace. We have to find the peace in our mind, in our spirit, in our mouths. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's what the Bible says. But so many of us do not speak life to ourselves. We don't speak goodness to ourselves. What we do is we reiterate whatever someone else has said, or we confirm whatever someone else has put out there in the universe and out in the air, when we should have silence. We should have peace. We should be able to clarify and hear God. But you can't hear God because of all of the mess of the statues and the burning of the flags and the guns, and you're a racist and you're a bigot. But I'm telling you, in California, in the entertainment industry, these entertainers are illusionists. And this is why they're the subject matter that I want to talk about. And I also want to talk about a historical fact that Dave brought to the table that was proven wrong. I thought we could have that conversation. Now, let me make this clear. I am a #1 fan of Dave Chapelle. So Dave could do no wrong, even if he got this right. We'll give him a pass. He deserves to be always on the right train because most of the time, 99% of the time, Dave is on that right train. But on this instance, with the 846 video, he said some things that were questionable. He said some things that were misconstrued. And I've got someone who did a video on it. We're going to break down the video of the video review. And I'm going to stop it in between. Let me go ahead and bring a special guest. There's nobody other than the man of the hour, which you guys know, which is Flagship. Flagship, how you doing? How you doing, Flagship?
I am getting my final thoughts together. I'm about to break it all down. But I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad everyone else is here.
Well, I'm so glad you're here because you always add so much value and so much fire to the table. Hey, I want to say a shout out to all the fam right now before we get going. Herb's out there. Miss A. Smith is out there. How you doing? Sway's out there. And of course, Rock came in first. Okay, so again, the noise. How do we quiet the noise? And we stop quieting. We start by not comparing our lives to these other people, right? But maybe we should, because we put them on pedestals. Now, I'm going to start off talking about D.L. Hughley, and we're not going to put a lot into D.L. Hughley because it's really going to talk about the Dave Chapelle 846. But I want to talk about that 70% loss, because somewhere in the last YouTube video that I did, I don't know, we got off base a little bit, but I really want to talk about when he talked about how he lost 70% of his income. That video was done before he passed out. Then he passed out. Then he said he got COVID-19. Okay. You passed out because you were out there on the streets working. And then you said in the video, which I'm going to play again real quick, he said he's worked all his life and he's never taken a day off. Now, you're part of the Kings of Comedy. Most of those people, Kings of Comedy, should be well settled. Who's in the Kings of Comedy? Steve Harvey, a couple other people were in the Kings of Comedy. He was part of that circuit. And those circuit people, all of them had sitcoms. He had a sitcom with Tisha Campbell. So when these people get money, in my mindset, you should say, I need to get my house paid off. I need to get my car paid off. I need to get some couple of cash investors. You should not be in what I consider the rat race. You should not have a rat race lifestyle, but celebrities do. And we do as well. And I want to encourage you to quiet your mind tonight, to understand, am I in a rat race mindset? Do I have a mindset of saying, if I don't have a job, can I create a job? Do I have an entrepreneurial spirit? Do I know people that want to succeed to the next level? Am I surrounding myself with people who have good words in their life? Because some people just don't say good things. And some people just don't want nothing. We don't want nothing people in our lives, family. We just don't. And I don't care if you like Trump or don't like Trump. Don't get in those conversations. Take that Corona mirror and you look at it and you face and say, bitch, I got you. You ain't got me. I got me. Not you. You ain't gonna get me. Because a lot of you are gonna get evicted. A lot of you are buying a lot of bullshit stuff you don't need to be buying. Oh, I'm gonna buy this. I got this chick up. Unless that is something that you need that's going to further you on in your life and in your career or reestablish you, you need to pray about that Rona mirror. It might be telling you it's time to move. You might need to take that money and move somewhere else. You need to merge that money with somebody, other family member. These are the conversations you need to have with yourself and those of your surrounding, because if you don't, if we go into a second wave of this, you may go into a deep depression to the point where you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, quote unquote, and you would be homeless like half the folks of our own diaspora downtown Los Angeles, because you had a mental breakdown. Now, I want to claim righteous good things for you, that your mind will not go mentally broken, that you will stay strong in this process. But I want you to know that there are Black people who are in the entertainment industry who did not do what they should have with their money, and now they're suffering. I want to go to that D.L. Hughley video again. Let me show you guys this video one more time. We did this last week. But what he said was just, there was something about that interview that just, it did something to me, and I need to just play it again.
Last question. You've been doing it for a long time, but you spend a lot of time touring, doing shows and so forth. That has ground to a halt.
Yes.
Now, you are financially established.
Right.
You were not living paycheck to paycheck up to the point of this. So you're okay. But as a whole, when you look at...
He said, you're okay. He didn't answer that question. You notice that, Flagship? He said, you're okay. He just nodded. He just nodded.
Ooh, sure. Let me know when I can break this thing down. Let me know when I can add something.
Go ahead. I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna go back through it again.
Yeah, keep going.
Of comics and live entertainers, when there is no timeline for live shows anymore. And most comedians, they make 95% of their money that way. Is that a fair statement? Sure. You know, you got the Kevin Hart's who do movies and so forth, but that's a very small piece of people.
It's like Kevin Hart.
Yeah, it's like Kevin Hart. That's it.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Who else? He does every fucking.
He does every movie. Jumanji.
Right.
Everything. What type of effect for your community of comics is this coronavirus having?
Well, when you ask me what type of effect is the coronavirus having in my community, I would ask you about yours too. I would ask you about news. I would ask you about
news is okay.
I think that it has shown us that some aspects of the way we live are unnecessary. More people are going to be working from home.
Yeah.
More people are going to be reticent to go see live events. We can now have shows without a live audience, but you've already done that, so it's not, you know what I mean? So it's recalibrating the way people see things. But the one thing that's true, stand-up, the art, has survived 2 world wars, famine, floods, fires. I don't think that everybody is going to survive. Obviously, that would be a lot, but I think the art form will. How people digest it, that might be a different thing.
Because it's tough. You know, all the comedians that I speak to, and I know a lot, they all need a live audience to do what they do.
Yeah.
To do an IG Live comedy special where you're just talking to a screen, most comedians can't even really turn up and really do what they do without having that feedback from a live audience. You know, I got friends like Godfrey who do like 500 shows a year.
Right.
Like they're doing multiple shows every night, damn near the whole month.
Now let me hold up. Let me stop right here. Godfrey has been around for a long time, right? Godfrey, 500 shows. Well, I'm still trying to figure out what these people do with their money. Cause Godfrey ain't 16. That's another old Negro. These are older, mature men, and they're not out to put out the pasture yet. You know, they're not up there. They're not, but they're up there. Well, I'm trying to understand why is the hustle so hard, and to the point that as long as you've been in this game, you have not looked in that mirror. Has messed a lot of people up. Look at this man's face. But let's just keep going.
Do you think it's going to hurt a lot of comics?
I think it's for a while until people get sick. But everything, restaurants are going to be hurt. Airliners.
He keeps pivoting. He says, well, you know, other people hurt me. Yeah, we're hurting, but so are other people. It ain't about other people. This is the problem with liberals and progressives. You
can never have just a conversation about a topic. When they know they're wrong, they want to just kind of bring in everything else in and convolute things. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. I can't with this man. Let me know when I can break him down.
Well, you're absolutely right, because he's pivoting. I'm like, dude, why are you pivoting? The man asked you a direct question. Your industry's hurting. Yeah, but so is everybody else. No. This is an example of someone who's looking in that Rona mirror and don't want to face it. Now, I'm using him as an example because I don't want you all to be like this. We can't be like this. I have to say, Shirley, you got to work on some things. I can't say, well, you know, so-and-so's okay, or so-and-so can get some work. Well, they're out of work too. Yeah, but they're handling their business. Don't pivot from your life when you are not dealing with you. He's pivoting too much. His thought patterns are pivoting on what everybody else got to deal with it too. So how are we all gonna do this? No, it's not about we, it's about you. It's about you, Dale. Obviously, because what happened? You end up passing out. Not too many weeks after this video.
Yeah, I interviewed Russell Peters recently. He said that he's lost millions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you okay? He's like, yeah, but it's still the bleeding. Like, you know, I'm still having to spend money and not having, you know. I assume you lost a massive amount of money, all your bookings.
A very, very decent amount of money is.
Now, this man came after D.L. Hughley, by the way. He's an established comedian, and he gets more money. He gets more money. This is the problem with black comics. Sometimes these other people, these underdogs, come from nowhere and they circumvent you. He probably got more money than D.L. Hughley, And D.L. Hughley was around before he was, but let's keep going.
Yeah.
Right, but there's okay.
Right. But you've been doing this for 30 years.
31 years.
Yeah. You have money that you put aside, you have assets.
You do and you don't.
No?
Like you do, but if it's bleeding,
Yeah.
I mean, you have a certain amount, but you also have a certain amount of blood in your body. You know, unless somebody's pumping blood in while you're bleeding, it doesn't matter. But if there's nothing coming in, it's all going out.
Let me stop. You know why I like this man? He is looking at the Rona mirror. He's looking at the coronavirus mirror. And he said, whoa, I got this coming in and that going out. He is not pivoting from the questions that are being asked. He is straightforward. He's saying, look, I finally have become a successful comic, but in my success, I am bleeding right now. How do I stop the hemorrhage of my business and my life? He has a reality check of the oxygen on, trying to figure it out. But when you see D.L. Hughley, notice how they had to pivot to this portion away, because he's trying to say, see, D.L. Hughley ain't living in reality. But this man is. Let's go back, because you know they're gonna pivot back to D.L.
Right.
I mean,
If you're
you
just
know,
bleeding with no pumping, then
yeah, it's bad. It's gonna get real bad. I'm gonna get a hurt real bad. There you go, motherfuckers. I said it.
70% of my income went away.
Let's inhale that. He said 70% of his income went away. 70%. Now, I don't know what this brother's making, but let's say he was making $1 million a year. That means $700,000 went poof, puff the magic dragon, live by the sea. That means he would go from $1 million to $300,000, 700,000 to 300,000. Now, some of us will say, I could do good on 300,000. Not if you live in a lifestyle, not if you've got his kind of debt, his overhead, his staff, his insurance, his bills. He's still got to compensate for all of that. But this man just announced he lost 70% of his income.
70% of my income went away.
70%.
70%. 70% of my income went away. Like
Just like that.
tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah. All these shows.
Because my whole thing was, I don't make this, but I'm gonna live off this. Right?
Okay, I make this, but I'm gonna live off of this. Where's the savings in any of this? I'll make this and I'll invest in this and I'll find ways to make money while I'm sleeping because I understand the rat race. But this man is in the rat race. And my heart goes out to this kind of brother because he's a prime example where I have to say, before I throw a stone, I need to look at myself. Those of you guys who are watching, you need to look at yourself, because this man is thinking, I make this and I'll make it pay the bills, and then this I can kind of blow off and do what I want. Did we hear any savings in any of this? Did we hear about investments? And maybe I'm not saying that he didn't save and he didn't invest, but obviously it's affecting him. But when he says 70% of his income went to Puff the Magic Dragon, that is a problem, family.
I'm gonna live off this. Right? That's it. I don't want to be beholden to anybody.
Yeah.
So I would do that, but this is what I do. 70% of my income. And so even now, when you're talking about going back and you're restructuring deals, they're talking about 50% capacity or 25% capacity.
Yeah.
The deals aren't what they were.
Exactly.
So,
And it's not like you could, if you do 25% capacity, in order to break even on your previous estimate, you'd have to charge 4 times the ticket price.
well, you can't. You have to do more shows.
Okay, let's stop there. That's a lot of information. So you have a show that seats 100 people. And they say to you, you can no longer pack this theater for 100 people. You can only do 25%. That means you only get 25 people for a seating capacity of 100 people. Or you're only able to give 60%. That means you can only do 60 people out of 100 people. And he says, okay, well then the money breaks down less. He says, no, you have to do more shows. Actually, they're both right. Because what happens is you're gonna get less money because you got less people in the house, and the deals are gonna be negotiated differently because the person who's promoting you, the promoter, the person whose space you're using, electric, light, and gas, those bills did not change. The security guy, those bills did not change. Those numbers didn't change. Those people have to be paid, okay? So that means it's gonna come out of your pocket to be able to get people in the room. And if you do, you cannot overcharge those people. So his income is gone. What he's doing is charitable work right now. If he had money, if I was him, I said, well, let me just pull out of this and take 2 years off and spend time with my wife and kids, downsize, maybe liquidate some assets until I can get my health and my mind together and let this Rona do what it does. But this is not what this man did. As you know, he went on the road and then he passed out. But like I said, if you got 100% and then you're talking about 25% people capacity, you're only gonna get paid 25% of what you would normally get. That's peanuts. And then now you're talking about you gotta do more shows. Wait a minute. I thought we were quarantined, Negro. I thought you were part of the liberal, progressive, put the mask on, stay home and die and don't ever go back to work people. So who gonna come out and see your shows if you're so anti-Trump and you keep supporting illegal immigration? I'm just trying to understand that. We're almost done.
Yeah.
You have to be more.
That's the way around it.
And the way around it also is this.
And plus, some people don't want to go to shows at all.
No.
But
there's a virtual platform that people are exploring. People could buy a ticket for a particular performance, see that ticket, see that performance 8 times out at 8 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours, and you can't transfer it to anybody, and it's imprinted, so you could just see it. But I just think that the people who are great at this are gonna do okay.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be people that want to. But it's a scary time. Like my wife is like,
Surely you're losing me.
I'm booked on the 11th.
He's booked on the 11th. That's the end of this video. Flagship, you want to come in? Do you want me to go back to any parts, or how do you?
No, you are killing me already. I was already about to stab myself in the neck. Thank God it ended.
Look, I'm talking about the mirror. Everybody's got to look at this Rona mirror. That man's face said it all. And then later on, you guys know what happened. He passed out, and then he came back later on and did a video. And if you need to hear more of it, that's in our last video. But I'm going to start this video. I started off talking about him for the first 30 minutes because me and Flagship were having this discussion offline. You know, a lot of people in this entertainment industry keep talking about stay home, but look, he couldn't stay home. Look at all the people that he infected when he fell off that chair. And then his son tweeted out he got infected with COVID-19. The COVID virus, the Rona ain't no joke. Flagship, what's your overall take of the Rona mirror that we're all looking in today?
Well, there's 2 things that are happening simultaneously. And you know, I like to go into a little bit of history and go into the context. Well, for one, he's obviously, to answer your question really quickly, he's not looking in the Rona mirror. But you know what? It's not just him. Black celebrity has not looked in the Rona mirror. Now, can I take this back for a second? Can I take you historically back just like 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Okay, let's take this thing back to Black liberation and civil rights and Black people saying we're not taking this no more. We're gonna be in Hollywood. We're gonna keep it specific on Hollywood, but we're gonna be in Hollywood and we're gonna get ourselves up in there. So what happened was there was a trick bag. Okay, we're gonna let you come up in here, Black people, but we're gonna let you come up in here being doing Black exploitation movies. Okay, I didn't lie. I don't like Black exploitation movies at all. But in is in. Get in there, get the trick bag, and then flip it and get to some power. So what was happening is, so we have all these horrible movies of the Foxy Brown character, the Pootie Tang kind of style character, the pimp character, and so on and so forth. So all these stars, like Jim Kelly and so on and so forth, they get in here. I'm sorry, not Jim Kelly, but what's his name? What's her name? Foxy Brown, Pam Grier, and other female and male actors got in there. And what happened was, they were starting to harness power, but then they transferred it to the next generation, which was the Spike Lees and Malcolm X and so on and so forth. But then they didn't harness it into buying studios and getting power on the boards and buying cable cable networks and buying a powerful share network so where you can have some power and then bring in the next generation. So then what happened was when Bill Clinton came in, which was the worst president for Black people, just put it out there, he passed his Telecommunications Act. And then everyone who had money from slavery went and bought up all the television rights and bought up everything else. So then it's like, okay, you have all these people in producing, but you didn't harness power to buy up the stations. So therefore, the distribution was controlled by the same people who said, we'll let you in under blaxploitation. And what do we have now? A whole bunch of the same old garbage. You got Black people getting beat up on TV all the damn time. You got all these slave narrative movies and all this other garbage and bullcrap. And then what happens is we have all these comedians, since they didn't harness power and try to take over the industry and try to buy venues and buy television rights, buy online rights, buy all distribution here, distribution there. What happens is now they're victims to the game now, and so his money dropped. Let me tell you something. Amy Schumer's money didn't drop. Who's the one dude, the Indian guy's dude? His money didn't drop because guess what? Because India has distribution. They have Bollywood. So his money might have dropped a little bit because there's not many shows. But guess what? He just changed his money from this avenue to that avenue. So instead of getting paid by selling potato chips, I'm getting paid by selling bubble gum. And the thing is, and also, what's her name? These other comedians, Dane Cook, his money ain't dropping. So the thing is, what happens is that we have all these people who go into Hollywood. They don't flip their money into harnessing power because money is a form of power. And if you're not going to go into Hollywood with the context of we're going to take over this, or at least carve out a segment to where we decide that we're going to have this, and we're not going to be able to get pushed out by no damn Telecommunications Act. We're not going to get pushed out because other people got money too. We're going to keep multiplying, setting up our kids, setting up our opportunities, and we're going to stay in this game, and we're going to run it. So when the coronavirus happens, we got money set aside for if you lose a little money here and there, we can go ahead and help you out a little bit here. We're going to also transition that.
Let me stop you right there because I agree with you.
I almost had my point.
Huh?
Oh, I had one more. I just had one more little piece.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One last little piece, and then also go back to the community. Like for example, like the Indian guy, he has businesses that he has in his community that he funds. But the celebrities, they all about themselves. They were buying Birkin bags. The Jewish community and the Indian community, they were buying businesses and hiring employees who were potential customers. So the thing is, I don't feel sorry for D.L. Hughley. I don't feel sorry for none of these dang celebrities because all they do is they go up in there, I'm going to do for Steph, I'm going to do for me. I'm going to close the door behind me, joking with Issa Rae now. Okay, well, this is what it looks like. You lost 70% of your income, and now you got to fake having the coronavirus to get paid to get sympathy. I'm done.
Now, how do you think that brother's faking it? How do you say he's faking it?
Oh, please. Oh, come on. The coronavirus is something that is manageable. We can work and still have the coronavirus. You get sick, go home, get well if you can, and then come on back like the flu. It's like a flu on steroids. All this shutting down, staying broke, and he's broke too. So he's like, okay, cool. Massa, I'll go say I have the coronavirus, and you pay me so I can make us some money, and that's what I'm gonna do. And so what he did was he stayed in the house, didn't drink no water, took 5 shots of tequila, got on stage with those hot ass lights, passed out, and then fake having the coronavirus. Missed me all goddamn day. I'm done. I don't believe nothing anymore.
Dehydrated, because later on he comes on the video and he's dehydrated. But let me tie this into, again, we're talking about TV and industry and investing in the television and entertainment world. The comedian world outside of TV and film is a gig world where you go from gig to gig to gig. So it's a different type of income. I think we all know that. They're not going to make the same.
Oh, no, only in our community. Oh, no, only in our community is it that way.
So you're talking about when you talk about Amy Schumer or the little country guy. That
because
but they still work.
Okay, keep talking. I'm gonna bring up my receipts. Keep talking. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Let me go ahead and share my piece, and then I'll let you talk because we got.
Sorry about that.
We have full circle. I want to get his take on the subject matter. I'll just say this: I agree with you, Flagship, but I also agree with the fact that we have to understand those are gig jobs. Those aren't the same as other jobs. And we already know we get paid less. That's a given. And even in the entertainment and the movies, that we get paid less than the white people. But even so, whatever they get paid more than me and you. That man made a lot of money, and he's just not set aside a responsibility towards it. Full circle, are you out there? I want to thank you for coming in. I really want to get your thought on the matter.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me, Shirley?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Hey, Flagship. Greetings.
Oh, hey, what's
Good
going
to
on?
see you. What's going on? First of all, I want to start off by saying this man, I've met this man, I think around the time of 9/11 or a little bit after 9/11, D.L. Hughley. I come from the entertainment industry, Shirley. You know, I used to work at a urban radio station. Met the man. And I understand. I get it, Flagship. You know, your take on DL. Real nice man when you meet him in person. When I see him now, and it's been years, he looks very tired. Very, very, very tired in the face. Shirley, you mentioned we have to look at ourselves in the mirror. When I look at DL Hughley, I have to think about like, okay, he's got some years on me, myself. And when we look at ourselves individually, you look at DL Hughley and ask yourself, is this what I want to look like? And I don't mean just the physical, but the overall. You mentioned as far as like his money, what did he do with his money? The situation, you know, how he stands, how he is right now as we speak, as we see him, along with all the thousands of people that watched and saw him fall on that stage off that stool. Is it real? Was it fake? All I can say is, Shirley, I don't want to be in that position. Granted, he's making way more money than I'll ever see in a lifetime as an entertainer. But I want to ask myself and individuals in the chat and listening too, where do you see yourself? Are you in position in comparison, you know, to this man? Regardless of having a regular career, not so close of a career, but just, you know, are you living within your means? Pretty much is what I'm trying to say. And a lot of celebrities, I feel they haven't been living within their means. They put out this facade, you know, with the help of media that they've got this, they've got, you recall MTV Cribs. It goes way back. Goes way back. MTV Cribs used to portray these celebrities and their lifestyles. And of course, one's looking on at the idiot box. I call it the idiot box. They would see themselves like, I can do that. I can have that. Why can I not have that? I want that. And with their help, it has brought many to not their demise, but many to where it's like, I want to get that. I need to have that. But as you mentioned, Shirley, nowhere in that interview that he was having that you just showed that he spoke of, I'm investing, I'm saving. This is where I put my money. I don't want to be in that position, Shirley. Honestly, right now, 2020, per the Rona, we literally, as you said, have to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, where do we stand right now, today, and use that as an example. I'm using DL Hughley as of now, and I had already been as an example of what not to do. That's my take.
I love that. I love what Flagship and you both are saying, especially when Flagship talked about, are we setting things aside? Are we financially preparing ourselves during the duration of this? I don't care if you set aside $10 or $20 a week. But this brother's already putting himself out there. He went back on the road like everything was normal. And then he's passed out and he's sick. You old Negro, stay home, get healthy, and work with what you have. Now, some things in life, like with him, I think he needs to look in that mirror and start liquidating some assets. Because if you're so desperate, you're going to go back to work to be in a room. Look at that. If you're looking at that stage where he fell out at, he might have had 20 or 30 people in the room. You so hard up, you got to take that little check. That check ain't no money. That boy wasn't getting paid no $10,000, $20,000. He probably only got paid maybe $4,000 or $5,000, maybe $3,000. Saying, I got to take this little money and get rolling again. I need money right now. You need to alter your lifestyle to prepare you for a better future. Write that down. You need to alter your lifestyle. And that lifestyle doesn't come easy. It's baby steps. It's harsh right turns. It's quieting the mind of all these other freaking fools trying to tell you what you need to do. Don't worry about what everybody else is telling you what you need to do. Don't even listen to the YouTubers. Listen to the Spirit of God in your heart. Listen to the discernment of goodness. There's a spirit of goodness that has been trying to tell you what you need to do. And that comes with a sacrifice. That comes with quieting your mouth and your mind and just saying, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. If you sit down with a pen and paper, write the good and write the bad and write the ugly, and get these people out of your life with filth in their mouths or doing things that just don't make no sense. Like Full Circle said, look, we can look at D.L. Hughley and we're going to pray for the brother. I pray that God heals his body, but we can also learn from D.L. Hughley what to do and what not to do. Because as you saw in that conversation that he had with Vlog, he kept pivoting. He would ask him a question, well, aren't you hurting? Well, other people are hurting too. That is irrelevant. The relevancy is what you are and what you see. Flagship, what's your thought?
Well, I mean, okay, two things. He didn't answer the question directly, but then at the same point in time, that's the kind of question that even if I was in that situation, I wouldn't want to put that energy out there about, me hurting financially and stuff like that. And DJ Vlad is notorious for trying to always make Black people look like they broke and looking all kind of raggedy and stuff. So, I mean, I understand not answering that question, but I do agree with you. He was deflected in a lot of other areas. But I think questions like that on a national platform is kind of inappropriate to ask about people's personal finances and stuff like that. But he was definitely deflecting. I agree with you. But I also agree with this coronavirus. We also need to understand not just that we need to change our lifestyle and really cut the fat out of our lifestyle, and really reassess ourselves, but we also need to reassess ourselves politically as well. I know we're going to talk about that later on, but we have to also reassess ourselves politically, because you use this concept that has been used on airlines and that is very key to Black people. We need to put the mask on ourselves first. And throughout history, even when we was in Africa, we was putting the mask on everybody else first and saving them, and we up in here dying. I'm done with all that bull crap. And especially with the quarantine, where we're expected to stay at home and be all broke and poor. Meanwhile, you see Anderson Cooper get his money up, Andy Cohen get his money up. You see Ellen getting her money. You see Van Jones and Angela Rye and all these other people. They want us to be home and stay broke while they living their best life, getting their money up, telling people they got to stay at home for our safety. Meanwhile, you out there getting your paychecks, getting your benefits, and paying your gas bill and filling up your refrigerator. Now, we need to reassess this whole thing. If we're going to stay home, everyone's going to be broke. We ain't going to have y'all sit up there getting your money up and getting bailed out, and we sit at home broke, can't get no dang job, unemployment's messed up, and then we can't even pay our dang bills, and we getting evicted, and we supposed to be homeless on the street when I got bachelor's and master's degrees? No, that's not how this is going to work. That's not how this is going to work. You guys got like 3 weeks to get it together, and maybe we need to start burning down your world.
Shirley, can I say something?
Sure.
Allegedly.
Go ahead. Full Circle.
Yeah, I wanted to say this. I was just looking up in the ceiling. I was listening to you, Flagship. I have this to say. When it comes down to it, we have to be honest with ourselves. I'm going to still use that example, as you said, the mirror. We have to be totally honest with ourselves. I'll give you an example for myself personally. When I'm usually out and about, of course, with the mask on, abiding by the rules and the laws, as far as, what we need to do and what to prevent, as far as catching this Rona, we have to look at it like this. Usually when I'm out, I've seen a lot of traveling, seen a lot of travelers. I've seen many buying vehicles. You might have seen it in your neck of the woods, maybe you, Flagship, out there where you're at. A lot of vehicles being purchased. You can tell because it's the paper, type of plate, or the paper showing, that it's a purchase car, regardless if it's new or used. I have also seen RVs. I have seen RVs to the point to where I'm going. I'm going to show you where I'm going with this. It's summer. RVs are popping up left and right. I've seen so many to the point where it's in men. We're visual creatures. I've noticed, hey, I'm seeing a lot more RVs than I did yet last year and the year before. I look at that RV. I like that RV, and look at that one, and look at the style and the looks of that one. The more I see these RVs, it starts to play not really with with my psyche, but just of a want. It's almost looking at, once again, the idiot box, and it's advertising, but in real life. Now, am I in the position of getting an RV? I can say yes. Do I need an RV? No. Do I want one? Yes. But do I need one? Absolutely not. Now, I have to say, when I speak of honestly, I have to look at the part as far as finances. Would I be, here we go, financing it, or would I be coming out of my pocket cash? You have some in positions that are able to do it like it's nothing. And then you have some that are in position to finance. So you have to kind of weigh it and look at yourself, or look at myself and say, where do I lie in that? Can I do it and just pay cash with no stress, not being in debt, or would I be financing it? And we both all know, I think a lot of us here listening, we're educated when it comes to that, and some of us aren't when it comes to financing and using cash. I can't.
There's this book I read a long time ago, and it's called Wants, Needs, and Desires. There's some things that we want, there's some things that we need, and there's some things that we desire. And I think that during the coronavirus mirrors, I need you guys to write this down. Remember, I always tell you, get your handy dandy notebook out. And we have to look at wants, needs, and desires. Because if we are not preparing for whatever this is about to become, or whatever it's going to evolve into, and we're assuming the state and the feds will continue to subsidize our losses, and we're not equate to handle the cutoff, we're going to be in trouble, family. We're going to be in trouble. Now, RVs are nice. I ain't no Tino Shea. I appreciate what you're saying, because it is a desire that we want to have. But keep in mind that same money, you could have put it in a tangible property. You could put it in a tangible, sustainable property. Now look at a Republican reprisal. I always said that word wrong. Anyway, my husband and I invested in 2 Airbnbs 3 years ago. Thank God, because that is what is keeping us afloat right now. Well, shout out to you, sister. Shout out to you. Because I think we all have to learn the Airbnbs, the rental properties. These are positive cash flows. These are things where I say, are we making money while we're sleeping? Because D.L. Hughley is an example of a check-to-check coronavirus, come to Jesus moment, stop pivoting off into everybody else's lifestyle, and realize that you are not going to be able to sustain and keep yourself going. And I think that's important that we do that, because the more that we can say, you know what, this is making sense to me. As I'm hearing this video, this is making sense to me. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you have not taken charge of you.
Shirley, can I say this?
Yes.
I wanted to jump in and add on to what you were saying. Something that you brought to mind when you came into about the likes, wants, and desires of the RV. And just to let you know, no, I don't have one, and I have no desire of getting one now. After analyzing myself, a couple of years ago, I ended up. We don't really talk about this part that I'm about to bring to the table when it comes to having a will for yourself, a will and a trust. I had a lawyer, literally a lawyer, put together my will. I also have a trust too as well, but my will. And in that will, the lawyer asks, she broke it down, and pretty much certain parts stood out. Like, what are your assets? What are your liquid assets? Like, she broke it down to the T. And once again, the mirror. I love it, Shirley. The mirror. I had to look at myself and laugh, because I said, wow, I have all these material things. I have this, I have the house. I have a lot of things. I got toys, I got things, but that's what they are, Shirley. They're things. When it comes to liquid assets, you really have to look at yourself in comparison to the celebrities as just an average Black man, Black woman, human being, non-Black. I don't care what race, what culture. Really look at yourself and ask yourself, where do you stand? And when it comes down to, like, when you really break it down, you could say, I really don't have anything. I mean, you have something, but you really don't. But once again, that's being honest with yourself. And I told you, it was years ago when I had my will put together. Right then and there, I was off to the races, because I was honest with myself, and I looked at it where it's like, I don't need that. I don't need that. And even in my garage, Shirley, which it takes a minute, it's not crowded, it's not a bunch of junk, and it's not like off that reality show, Storage Wars. It's things that I looked at like, I didn't even need that. But is this a part of, as we grow up, because we weren't educated or taught from our parents to say, you know what, son or daughter, don't do a lot like what I did, or I hope someone teaches you, or I wish somebody taught you that some of those things out there you don't need, you can't do anything with. Granted, you can go on eBay and sell some things that might mean something, maybe like Pawn Shop, those shows. But there's some things, let's just be 100, that in our own lives that we have in our possessions that is just worthless. And we spent our hard-earned money to get these things. And those things, I mean, are just in, dust, ashes in the wind, just in the wind, because when you look at it, you're like, no one wants it. It depletes, it doesn't appreciate, it depletes, and I think we should be educated. We should educate ones after us, after we're gone, and help them and show them that, what, it's not all cracked up what you think. We need the education. And I don't know if Flagship agrees with this, I blame the ones out there, the celebrities. DL might be one of the ones too, the ones with the flashy this and the flashy that, and the chains and that, all this, that, and the other, the glitz and the glamour, where they made it seem like it was so easy. But when it was all said and done, it's that individual that's looking back like, you know what? Why did I do this for? What was this all for? This was all for nothing.
Well, it's almost like it's a leak of the boat, because yes, you're doing all this that you're doing, but on the other hand, it ain't lasting. There's no substance. There's no
substance. Sure.
Let me ask Flagship, what's your thought on what Full Circle stated?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Shirley?
What's your thought on Full Circle and what he stated?
What he said is obviously perfectly correct. It's perfectly correct, and that's why I brought up that history on how there was an opportunity to come in and flip the game, and everyone to come in and get Bentleys and get a bag, and or a Gucci, and get a Prada, and be seen, and sit there and talk about, we got to talk about this and that, talk about that. No one was harnessing power. Meanwhile, but you know who was harnessing power? Like, for example, like what's his name? I forget the comedian that came after D.L. Hughley. Guess what? The East Indians was harnessing power, and they were setting up Bollywood to come in and enter into American Hollywood. They were setting that up since the 70s. They were bringing in their celebrities. One of them is called Aziz Ansari, Mindy Kaling, Rajiv Satal, and many others, and they said they're gonna export their comedians across the world, and they financed them. In the United Kingdom, they were financing people like Nina Wadia. We don't know these people because we're not in the United Kingdom. Ahir Shah, and so on and so forth. And this is what happens when you have a group of people that is on code and that wants to harness power and put their people in positions of victory. And what do? Oh, we're gonna just get a bag, and I did a movie with Brad Pitt, but I'm not going to tell nobody how to do a movie. I'm not going to set up any kind of try to buy any kind of TV rights or distribution rights so I can set up the next group. We're going to just be seen, and that's the difference between us and everybody else.
Well, we don't. Another thing, what we are doing, what we don't do is what we're doing now. So let's speak in a positive terms. Thank God for people like Flagship and Full Circle, and many of you guys. I'll shout out to Mr. Research, who's popped in and made his donations. I love you, Mr. Research.
Ooh, Mr. Research is here.
Yeah, Mr. Research always does his homework.
We're about to kill it now. It's about to get real
tonight. But let me just say this to you: the investment starts with you first, right? So then you say, well, how do I start into an investment? Which way do I go? There's a lot of knowledge out there. It's how you harness that knowledge. And you find kindred spirits of people who want to harvest the knowledge the same way you do. If you have a product that you want to say, hey, I like that idea. I loved with the Republicans. She said, hey, I bought some real estate property, and somebody else just mentioned that they had some rental property. Was it Sway? You mentioned that you had also some rental properties. Those are cash flow, people. Those make you money while you're sleeping. Real estate makes you money while you're sleeping. And let me tell you, California is too expensive. If you go buy out of state, you can get something for under 100,000, 40, 60, 80,000, rent that out. Interest rates right now are 2.6, give or take. That's not bad money. That's not bad money. And it's tangible goods. The necessities of life are essential for you to understand. And you need to say, is this a want, a need, or a desire? And if it is it a necessity that I have to have? And if it is a necessity because you're trying to build your blocks to stable your life, then yes, it's something that you need to have. If it's not a necessity, like I've got to get those $500 pair of shoes, or I've got to get that purse, or I got to get, is it a necessity? Because if it's not a necessity, then you need to find necessity essential, write that word down, essential items to invest in. Utility and essential items are what some of the most wealthiest Blacks in the country do. They have cement factories and oil factories, and these people are majority out of Africa because they've taken all the essential rights away from us. They stole them from us. A lot of the ideas that Flagship had mentioned before, many inventors, they never got the full vesting given to the Blacks who created it. Instead of, you think all these white people created a lot of stuff, a lot of Black slaves coexist with these people and put them on the map, and we never got credit for it. And we give our stuff away. Y'all remember they just had that movie,
exactly.
that new movie with the Clark sisters. That girl gave her song rights away for a Cadillac. You remember that part of the movie?
Yep.
She said, "What?"
Yep. And that was normal. That was normal. Did you know, Shirley? Did you know that right now, pretty much 90% of all the music from that time period, like the 40s and 50s, all the way up until now, pretty much the residuals are getting paid by people that are not Black people.
Not Black people. That's why they hated Michael Jackson, because he bought the rights to the Beatles. They hated Michael Jackson. That's some smart nigga. He did what? He outbidded Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney told him, he said, "Look, our publishing rights are coming up for auction." He said, "Really?" "Yeah." He says, we probably check it out. He didn't think he'd be in competition with Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson's attorneys looked at that and said, "That's a good portfolio. The Beatles? Oh, you need to buy that." And so then Michael bought it, and he sold off part of his publishing rights to Sony. He leveraged it for whatever else he invested into. And even though they tell you Michael was broke, Michael will want for nothing because his family still owns part of those publishing rights. It's residual income. It's just like a house. It's just like a house. Every time that song is played, somebody's getting paid.
But Shirley, something that you mentioned too, recognize, and that's the word, not saying for the audience to write it down, but something that you mentioned with Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney, that was power. That's power, Shirley. When you're able to do that, when this on YouTube is debating on power and the confusion of power you get at Flagship, people are so confused. That's power.
I'm not.
That's literally leverage. That's something, and I recall when he did that and he made that power move, I was even shocked. I might have not have understood it back then, but I just knew when you're able to do that, and the hate and the anger and the animosity against Michael Jackson, as if like, who are you and who do you think you are? We just thinking you one of them boys going up to a man, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know anything. You're just another knucklehead, talented knucklehead out there. But sure enough, he showed the masses, recall you all, that it's more than just the shaking and dancing with an afro, and a couple of surgeries, you know what I mean? Underneath all of that, he showed you what he was capable of. And I admire that man. He's no longer with us. May his body rest in peace. That was something to admire, to sit back and tell yourself, now, when it comes to whatever position that we might be in our own personal career, we want to be able to make moves like that, Flagship, power moves, and not just be out and about and shucking and jiving and just getting along just to get along. We want to be able to do that. We want to be in position. Sorry, Shirley.
If Black people don't stay conscious in power moves, we are easily distracted, right? We're distracted by the Black Lives Matter, I didn't get reparations, and I'm not this, and I'm not that. And yet we miss the golden nuggets that we need to hold on and say, look how he made that power move. how do I make moves like that at my level? I'm not at Michael Jackson level. I'm gonna pull in a shout out to who is this?
Can I say something real quick?
Wade just mentioned something which is so true. Hold on, listen to this. Flash, give me your thoughts on this. Ray Charles kept his masters, and also he was a monster in the business world. Now remember, Ray Charles sat in front of CBS, and he told CBS, "I want this deal, but this is how it's gonna flow." Now this is a blind man, and he sit there smiling and rocking. He said, "This is how it's gonna flow." He said, basically, what we're gonna do right here is you're gonna allow me to keep all my masters. And he negotiated a deal better than Frank Sinatra's. He said, that's a better deal than we gave Frank Sinatra. He says, well, and he just kept smiling. Guess what? He got that deal. If we don't ask, we will not have. Write that down. If we don't ask, we will not have. And Ray Charles did another move like Michael Jackson. He owned his shit and he found power and leverage. Where are we failing, family, that we are allowing the noise of Rona to disrupt us? Flagship, what's your thoughts?
I was just getting ready to read some of the comments about Ray Charles to give some history about it, and you nailed it right on the head. He was not playing, and you notice also how the movie sensationalized it. He had to get rid of the people who were holding him back, people that were with him when he was a nobody, when he was broke. He had to let them go. And not only that, he let them go with money. He tricked them off. He's like, look, you was with me when I was homeless. I slept on your couch. There goes your little million. But I gotta go. Here's your million. You good? Hey, but I gotta get these people up over here because we gotta go get power. And I like that. And I like how they did that part of the movie because he didn't burn them down. He let them go with money out of honor and respect. Didn't let their family go away. And then he went ahead and did his thing. And that's the kind of thing that we probably have to do. Sometimes when you have to go to the next level, you need to let people go with honor, with integrity, so they don't come and try to stab you or nothing. Trick them off a little money, and then you got to go and get that power and get that situation going. But the thing is, what I also want to add is right now, the problem that we have is not the fact that we're being focused, because we are focused. But the problem is that we have an enemy that no one's calling out, and it's these damn liberals who watch us, who come around us, and they pay off their Black Lives Matter LGBT minions, also known as their boyfriends, to come in and cause confusion. And then they put people in a situation where to get them out, you got to be aggressive because they just won't respect the conversation. So you got to get hood and ignorant. At this point, I'm ready to get ignorant. I'm ready to get ignorant, to snatch them by their damn weave and they damn lace fronts and tell them to get out, take your duck walking, death drop ass and get the hell up out of here. I'm done. We're here talking about power and economics for all of us, not just you because your man told you to come over here and cause some confusion. Go back to the penthouse. We're done. And that was a dig to Billy Porter.
I wanted to add on to that comment and what you said, Shirley. Our time is limited. Time is short. When you mentioned that we have to ask, my opinion, I think and feel that we need to up it a notch. And when I say up it a notch, because I mentioned that time is short, limited time, and the position that we're in, we literally have to demand, if that's a word for you besides power, we have to demand, because when you ask, if you're in that position, it's to the point of saying, like, if they say no, we can walk away and say, okay, I guess we'll come back next time. We have such limited time, not even much time to spare, that we have to come in demanding, like really, not to the point of like, oh, we will whoop your butt and being physical. I mean, we really have to demand it. Now, it might be some violence. And I'm not going there with the BLM, Black Lives Matter. I mean, literally, when it comes to power, we have to put ourselves in the position. Asking for these things is really not, it's okay, but it's like, okay, where, okay, we don't get it, just come back and see us again. It's always next year, 5 years from now, but we don't have that much time. No. You know, to be honest, going back to honesty, we have to look.
Time is the commodity, but I want to ask.
Time is you can't get it back, Shirley. You can't get it back. It's like, do not waste the opportunity. Do not waste the chance and the opportunity. Once you got that shot, you take that shot. Just like in the NBA when they're playing on that on the court, a street ball, professional ball, and they, back back in school, whatever, not professional, they always yelling at you, take the shot, like they know, the person, they're not literally in your physical body or in your body, but the other person is almost like they can see on the sidelines. Like, why didn't they take the shot? They had the shot. The person shooting the ball probably felt they didn't have that shot. The person who was probably coaching them and training them probably could see that they had the shot. We have to start seeing and knowing the time when we have the shot.
Right, your phone went kind of funky.
Right,
you gotta fix the phone.
Sideline. I mean, and
Okay.
get in the game. And if you're in the game, you give it all you got. Because once again, time waits for no one. And when you get that opportunity, you take the shot. Right now, we have to start taking the shot, or we're gonna be the one not at the championship. You see how it is, whoever's fans of the Lakers, whatever your team is, and they got the parades and they got the championship trophy. That has to be a hell of a feeling from high school to
Hey,
college.
full circle, hold on. Stop before you keep talking. What's wrong with your phone? Can you
Is it?
Yeah, your phone's weird.
Is it really? Is it acting
Try
like?
Yeah.
again.
Oh my gosh! Can you hear me now?
No, don't do that. Do whatever you did before.
Okay, it's almost like having an antenna or the tinfoil TV.
Get off. Are you on speakerphone?
I am.
Okay, get off a speakerphone if you can.
Okay, and just do it. I'm probably gonna have to plug in my headsets or
Plug
earbuds.
your headset in. I'm gonna comment to what you said. I need you guys to write this
I'll
down.
probably jump out, Shirley, and then come back in. But
Okay,
just
that
run
sounds
it.
good. That sounds good because I think you were saying a lot of great things, and I think the family really needs to hear what you have to say.
Right, and I'm
I
gonna
think
jump
that's
out.
how the basketball. I think that's essential.
Okay, I'll jump out and come back in. You two, I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, come out and come back in because we want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, Shirley, I'll be right back.
I want to say this to you guys. This is an old statement that was always said, but I want you to understand: power is not given; it is taken. If you don't take that opportunity, that means somebody's going to lose. It's a win and lose game. Like I told you, chess, backgammon, but Monopoly. These are games I've told you need to be practicing and learning how to play. But if you think someone's going to give you power just because you black or because you cute or because you know somebody, no, you have to take it. Michael Jackson took that portfolio and he lost his friendship. He lost his friendship. But you know what? He became a man that would want for nothing. He would not be in the situation that you saw with D.L. Hughley because he took the shot. He took the opportunity. Power is not given, it is taken. And if you don't take the opportunities of this COVID-19 money and make some wiser decision on how you're going to use it versus buying stuff you don't need, wants, needs, and desires, and you're just buying things because you've always wished you had it and now you've got it and now you've got more money coming in, you need to stop because that rat race is going to catch up with you. Let me show you a video, and I want to get Flagship's intake on this. I'm going to put a video up. We're going to end this video, this section, because we're going to move in and start talking about we're going to start talking about Dave Chapelle, but I want to end the D.L. Hughley rat race section with some stories of how to have a solution of if you're in that same rat race. Let's watch this video and see what we can learn from it.
You ever feel like your life is flooded by quantity instead of quality? Where you're drowning in prepackaged and reheated experiences instead of living fully? Or maybe you're only working to survive or buy more things you don't actually want in an inescapable Sisyphean cycle. Perhaps you believe the lie we've all heard that success equals happiness. If you can only achieve the next thing, then you'll be happy. But it's never enough. Or maybe you believe the only way to win is at the expense of others. If any of these apply to you, then welcome to the rat race. It's a place where life is something you endure or survive rather than enjoy. Hi, I'm Peter Montoya from Thrive Union, and I'll be sharing our current thinking on how we live. Our previous video looked at why we live, or what brings meaning to life. Now we'll look at the path to achieve fulfillment. And for more videos about thriving, please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell too to receive notifications when new videos become live. But first, why is the rat race so crushing? Simply put, it's because it's not how we adapted to thrive. As human beings, we've been evolving for a few 100,000 years, and evolution is slow. Our bodies and brains don't operate as they did in the past. despite our modern lifestyles.
I'm gonna stop right here. See, this is that Rona mirror. See how they're looking at that Rona mirror? This is the mirror you're looking at yourself. This is not the body you wanted, but this is the body that has come upon you because of this pandemic that has affected us worldwide. So when people talk about Trump, no. This is a global issue that came out of China, and it's having you look at yourself. And let me tell you something, even though you're fat and out of shape like this rat, it's okay, because I want you to be calm. I want you to feel good. I want you to understand. You understand the oxygen mask need to be put on, and we're gonna talk about some fundamental ideas in this video. But I want you to leave with some thoughts of, okay, I'm looking like this mirror. I need to get some acts together.
Today we live in independent houses instead of deep communities. Most of us have easy access to food and water and don't have to physically exert ourselves to get it. We're taught that wealth and power are better investments than close relationships. But our misaligned priorities, our competitiveness, and even our abundance have costs. The how we live matters, and our modern opportunities and comforts have negative side effects. The rat race has produced some of the highest levels of loneliness, lack of meaning, suicide, and mental and physical health problems. Most people try to escape the rat race by dropping out, retiring, or becoming independently wealthy. Few succeed, and those who don't return to the race a little more disillusioned and jaded. Even if you do succeed, you may wonder, is that all? Most achievements only create temporary happiness. The same is true for winning buckets of money. Research shows that even lottery winners return to their own baseline happiness after a few years in what's called the hedonic treadmill. We like to suggest another escape, which doesn't require becoming a millionaire, joining a commune, or making other radical changes. The how of fulfillment. Fulfillment isn't about going backward or rejecting modern comforts. Fulfillment is a way of life about honoring our needs as human beings and embracing new ways of living. Doing so allows us to become our best selves and truly thrive. Fulfillment differs from happiness. Happiness depends on external circumstances and it.
Okay, so fulfillment comes from internal happiness. How do you find yourself internally looking at yourself? How are you floating in your life and in your mind? Because if you realize that the surrounding areas of where you said, hey, I made it big, you leave your job and then you go back. You won the lottery, you spend all the money and then you go back. There is a pattern that this video is talking about. We all have patterns. And so one of the things of the coronavirus mirror that you're looking at, you need to say, okay, I am on some kind of pattern treadmill. I need to get off of this. And you need to pivot to a different sounding board. And the sounding board that needs to be pivoted in life is where you need to figure out what that is. Because I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is that it's a different board. It's something that's that quiet spirit that's been trying to tell you you needed to do, which you did not do. But because you've allowed yourself to be all into this, I can do this, or I'm going to hit the big lottery, or I'm going to get the money, I'm going to stand out different than somebody else. Flagship, I think, mentioned this a couple of videos back that, there's only a certain percentage of African Americans that are make it as a pro ball player, make it as an entertainer, make it as a comedian. Because then you're going to be back into that group race, which you saw in this video, where your friends will say, oh man, you back, huh? Yeah, it didn't work out. Well, it didn't work out because you didn't prepare yourself to say, I need to pivot or use this leverage opportunity to get to something else. What is that else? Write it down right now. Tell yourself, I need to get a pen right now. I need to get a pen. I need to write this down, because I'm relating to what Shirley is saying when it comes to that direction of blocking all this other stuff to telling you this is the way of life when it really isn't. It really isn't.
And what do you?
Go ahead, Flagship.
No, I'll wait till you get done.
Fulfillment, on the other hand, is internally motivated and it lasts a lifetime. It doesn't depend a whole lot on how much money you make, your job, your status, or even your genes, but it does depend on certain fundamentals. We want fulfillment as much as anyone, so we compiled research from positive psychology, longevity studies, evolutionary psychology, and philosophy. Then we tested and honed it to develop the 8 principles of fulfillment. We created separate videos to fully explore each one to explain how they bring fulfillment. The first 4 principles operate on a mental level. They are purpose, which creates unlimited motivation by meaningful contribution to human.
He started with purpose. Before he said purpose, he said mental. That's what I've always said. This Rona mirror is a mental infused change for Black Americans, for Americans as a whole. Just think of all that money they just shoved out. They gave the Native Americans $8 billion. Do you know what that's going to do for that community? It's going to leverage them. They gave $125 million to illegal immigrants. They're going to go out and they're going to buy stores and markets, the Asian community, the immigrants. They're going to go out and get more nail shops. And guess what we are? We're consumers. What are Black people?
Yep.
Commodities. We're commodities, but look.
And that has been engineered into our culture. Engineered.
Yes. Engineered into our culture. And so it starts first with the mind. Go ahead, Fletcher.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shirley. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it starts with the mind. Let's finish the video and I'm going to let you talk.
Humanity, which profoundly nourishes the body and soul. Wholeheartedness, which enables us to live a life of complete self-love, acceptance, and authenticity. And empowerment, which gives you the power to become the author of your own life. The final 4 principles work on the body level. Diet, which uses the best fuel for your body and mind so you can function incredibly. Exercise, which sharpens your body and mind to their fullest potential. Sleep, which provides incredible payoffs for health, creativity, and focus. And meditation, which massively upgrades your mind and your emotions. These principles align with the most meaningful reasons of why we live. You'll notice they don't include money, fame, or power, which are trappings of the rat race.
Okay, stop. That was a lot of information there, and I'm going to have you guys come back and watch it because I'm not going to reiterate it because I want to go into the next segue. But listen, what he basically said, it starts with your mind, starts with planning, it starts with surrounding yourself with good people, starts with meditation. You got to meditate, get quiet. It starts with you being able to say, I need to eat better, I need to exercise, I need to find out the health issues. It starts with you looking at your checkbook and knowing how you can balance it. How many of y'all know exactly how much money is in your account? How many of you guys know how much money you've used on your credit cards? That's the Rona mirror. Don't let fear grip you so bad that you're afraid to face your own demise. Oh, I know I got that credit card. I'm just gonna get $20 on it. I paid on it. No. How can you pay it off? How can you pay it off? You know, you've got to end the pain and the fear. Because if you can get through the pain and the fear, then you can create that foundation of stability. See, D.L. Hughley, when you look at his life, he's got some financial debt in place because he had to go back on that road. If he didn't have so much debt, he could weigh it out and say, you know what, if I stayed home for 5 years, would I be okay? There's a family called the Mays Lee family. It's a lady who's Korean. She's Black and she's married to a Korean man. And he adopted her and their kids, and they had 3 more kids. I love watching this family. And at the beginning of the coronavirus, I thought, oh my God, these people moved to California. Jesus, take the wheel. Y'all should never came here. But one thing that the Mays Lee family, he said, I have enough money to sustain me and these 7 kids and my wife for 1 year. If this doesn't work after 1 year, we're still in this situation, we're going to have to move. Now, when he said that, I said, look, this man has a plan. He knows that he can sustain his family for 1 year. Some of y'all can't even sustain yourself for 2 months. Let me finish this video.
I'm confident these 8 principles aren't new to you. They may seem boring, but with their profound benefits, why don't we focus on them? First, our lives are incredibly complicated with multitudes of distractions every day. Second, we're flooded with new research, gurus, and daily tips. Our minds simply aren't built to sort through all that new information.
Okay, our lives are not made to sort through all that information. Like I said, everybody's telling you how to live your life. You turn on Facebook, this person got killed, that person got killed, that Black person got hanged. These white people are doing this. Karen's all over the place. Kevin's all over the place. That's a lot of processing. That's a lot of energy distribution you're giving by reading all that in your feed. I'm telling you to turn the shit off. Just say, you know what? This morning, I'm going to wake up with a good sounding mind. I'm not going to give that energy. And if you do, you limit it in a time frame. You know, I done gave this 2 minutes and the feed ain't changing and I am. So you have to pivot away from the noise that is surrounding you, like this person's doing. They're walking through it. This little mouse is walking through all the other people and their circumstances, and they are bettering themselves.
Gurus and daily tips. Our minds simply aren't built to sort through all that new information. Finally, our minds are biased toward new things, so fresh, novel ideas feel better than old ones. However, the latest research into positive psychology and longevity proves these 8 principles will profoundly help you. You'll live longer, experience more joy, and create profound meaning. By living these 8 principles in your final moments, you can confidently know, I lived a life well lived. Together, these 8 fundamentals answer the question of how we live to find fulfillment. Through consistently applying them in our daily lives, we finally overcome the rat race so we can truly thrive.
Thrive in unison with Flagship, what's your thought on all of that? I think he might have got kicked out. Oh, full circles back. Let me put him back in. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here too, Shirley. I'll go back on mute. Flagship can go in. He can go ahead and speak. if he wants
Okay.
to.
No, I was just going to say, it's exactly what we need to do, but we also have to consider that we have. I think the first thing we had to do is we need to get ourselves, like you said, get out of the rat race, get our minds, our clarity. But one of the persons in the chat said that it's very difficult. Let me read what she said, or he said. It's very difficult when you have, we have people that we vote for who get into power and then set up policies that completely take us out of the competition. So even
Mm,
with us being on code, we're being taken out from the very beginning. Like the whole thing with the. Oh, here it is. It said it's hard to be optimistic about these conversations, although good information. When many blacks are homeless, they no longer have any type of employment, money, investment, and property, etc. And it seems impossible. And I understand exactly where she's coming from because even if we get on code, it's like, dang, you're gonna sit here and lock us out of these business grants, these business loans, this money, and then you're gonna give it to people who don't even have a voting stake in the country, who are not even here yet. And so it's very difficult. And I understand what she's saying. That's very, very difficult. But I think the first thing we need to do is like clear our minds, get on code, and then on code we can go into battle and get these issues taken care of. One of the examples of that was during the civil rights movement. We were almost getting ready to have reparations, but what happened is we got sidetracked with feminism, and that pretty much derailed it and pretty much dwindled everything down. And we need to stay on focus, stay on code, and we need to stay on ourselves because right now Israel just got $38 billion.
mm.
That would be nice in our community. 38 billion. That can make some moves.
Wow. How did they get that money?
Pretty much Congress gave it to them.
Mm.
So yeah.
Can I?
So
I'm sorry, Flagship. I was gonna come in with.
go ahead.
I'm back. I want to come in. I hope it's not an echo. Oh boy. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, you're great. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I'm gonna come in with this example, Shirley, Flagship. So listen up. All right. So this is a week before Father's Day. All right. And I got this example, this small charitable work, but it was pretty much on my end. What can I do? Pretty much doing my part in my hometown locally. I started out, I was sitting on some dry goods, of food. And that was since the Rona. Remember when the Rona broke out, people were grabbing tissues, alcohol, anything they could find. And I was like, wow, I'm sitting on some dry goods. It's been sitting here. And the expiration date is like next year sometime. So it's really packaged where you can eat it up until that expiration. So it wasn't like a month or like coming up on a expiration date. So I had some time, but I was just sitting on it. And it dawned on me, I said, you know what? I want to do something. So what I did a week before Father's Day, I had put together those dry goods. It was a couple of them. And they remind you of some little type TV dinners, like they're small, like in the palm of your hand, really well packaged. I went out and I was pretty much going to go see my grandmother, go visit her grave, because my grandmother, she passed away in 2011. So I'm pretty much the only one in the family that goes to see her. Over there near the cemetery is like in the nearby area is an area of homeless men and women. And when I first saw that across the street, I said, you know what? This is prime time. Opportunity to do what I need to do. After visiting my grandmother's grave, in other words, I already had it planned because I already knew where the location was. So it was hitting two birds with one stone. I went out, had my mask, gave out all those dry goods. I didn't discriminate. What I saw, Shirley and Flagship, was like, this is unbelievable. Now, some not knowing where I'm located, it's in the three digits. 2 weeks prior to Father's Day, it wasn't as hot. Now it is in the 3 digits. So I was like, oh boy, this is crazy. Like the forgotten. After that, the day after Father's Day, which was on a Sunday, that Monday, I came back. But within that week, Shirley and Flagship, I put together a homeless kit. And that homeless kit was the razors, the toothbrush, toothpaste, some wipes, some antiseptic wipes, whatever I could plug in there. And whatever that Glad plastic bag could hold, I put it in there. And last but not least, a bottle of water. I went back out on that Monday after Father's Day, and I had a plan and I was on a mission. When I came back that day, prior to that week before, it was a group that I hadn't even seen of men. Maybe I had missed maybe one, but I had a pretty good memory of what I saw the first week I went out with the dry goods. I had seen it all. I had even seen one man without legs, a black man without legs. I didn't discriminate. Same with the week prior, giving out to black men, white men. There were even black women and white women, but you could count them on one hand, maybe 1 and 1. But the majority was black men and white men. After that, on that Monday, I came across a man, and Mr. Research, if he's listening, this goes back to him. Shout out to him. I came across the first man I came across before giving out my homeless kit and water. I rolled my window down and I said, "Hey, could you use some water?" He says, "Sure." This was a homeless black man, a little bit up the street because I had to do a U-turn. He says, "Hey," I said, "It's tough out here, ain't it? Isn't it?" He said, "Yeah." 54 years old. I said, "What? 54? He says, "We looking good, huh? We don't age. We don't age." I said, "No, we don't." But he asked me something that stood out, Flagship and Shirley. He says, "Can I help you pass these out so you can pay me?" And I said, "No, I think I pretty much got it." He says, "I'm looking for work." I said, "You're looking for work? What do you do?" He says, "I used to work for the casinos."
Because I don't want to pivot away too much. You're talking about business, and
Yeah.
I don't want to pivot away from our personal look of who we are.
Mhm.
And I appreciate your story. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate your story, but I don't want to pivot away from the conversation of us having to realize there's a self-responsibility that we have to have, because I don't know what those people did to equate them to be at this level, other than, like Flagship had mentioned earlier, there's systematic things that are in place within this government to dismantle us. And because we are dismantled, we are constantly having to reassess who we are as individuals and our community. And the black people who are homeless, and America who are homeless, like you said, you don't discriminate. I'm listening to what you're saying. You're not discriminating because you're thinking about your grandmother and how your grandmother probably was a very giving and loving woman. But the era of our parents' compared to today, it's a whole different era, because it has evolved into other set-asides that are equated to other cultures of people. For example, when we look at America today, at the NAFTA and the DACA and all the benefits that these people are getting, and with COVID-19, the monies that are out there, many church people have allowed their address to be used for a lot of these homeless people. So it's not fixing the bleeding by giving water and food to these people. It's not fixing the problem. The problem is that these people, as well as ourselves, who don't want to become one of those people, or that we're not looking at the mirror at our personal circumstances. And if we don't realize that we need to set a tone, we need to set a tone of forgiveness. First, we need to forgive ourselves for our own mistakes, and we need to ask God forgiveness, and we need to pray for our community. And we need to pray that God provides another hand, because right now he has taken his hand off of America. That's why the evil is roaming through America. It's roaming in our lives and around us. And we have to be protected and covered by the blood. I'm a Christian, so I'm going to say the blood of Jesus. I believe that we have to be able
Shirley, come on now.
Those good things that are around us and the bad things that are around us. You just have to. And unfortunately, as we give so much of ourselves, we are losing life ourselves.
But let me show you this, Shirley. Let me jump in real quick.
We're on our segment on this one, but I'm gonna give you one more.
One more. Let me sum this up. Where I was going with this, that was the long version. I was coming in with the part on the tail end of to show you with the man that lost his job at the casino, and he worked on lawns. He was a gardener. Whatever he did was mainly the casinos. Major job. Because of Rona, it put him out of work. What I was really getting at is that when he asked me for work, because he was on his way headed for work before I stopped him, I didn't have the power to hire this black man at 54 years old. I was not even in a position to give him, with his skills, any type of work. So that's pretty much where I was going. And he was my first, you could say, client, or the person I saw just running into him. After him asking me with his mask and my mask, hey, can you help me find some work, or do you have any work to give me? He was literally that desperate, looking for work after being out of work for 2 or 3 months. A 54-year-old man, and I could not give him anything. So going back to the mirror, I had to look at myself. Sorry, Shirley.
No problem. And I respect where you're coming from, and I appreciate your heart to want to help other people. But I also want to say this much. There's a coin in front of you, and that coin has a tail and a head on it. When you flip a coin, you could be on either side. But guess what? You're still part of that coin. So within the Black community, we all are coins, and we make a decision. What side we want to be on, the top or the bottom of that coin. And that man's situation is not our responsibility. Our heart might have wanted to say, hey, he wants to get out there and give work. But like we talk about, the disposition of governmental systems have equated to affect our community. The question that I want everyone to leave from this show is, in your example, I give you a lot of props and respect, but I also want to say, in your example, we have to learn that these people have allotted themselves to be in this situation. Now, what did it take to get them there? I do not know, nor do I want to hear the story. But what I want you to know is you need to know your own story so it don't become that.
Absolutely.
And it's not your responsibility to say, if I had money, I could have helped them. If you had all the money in the world, you could give all of the way to these people. That doesn't mean they're going to get better, because their mind is gone. I just showed you a video talking about the rat race. The first thing it said you need to do is have a mindset. If you are homeless watching this video, or you are destitute watching this video, you need to alter your plan of action. That's all I'm trying to make everyone understand. Because yes, there's a lot of sad stories, and there's a lot of depressing stories, and they're not getting better. And this is not going to be a feel-good show or saying, oh, it's going to be the hallelujah moment tomorrow if we just pray and God's going to answer and the rivers are coming over and the money's flooding in. No, it is an effort and a strategy. This is all about a strategy. That man had no strategy. That is why he is in that situation. And you should feel no guilt because of saying, well, if I had more money or if I had the power, I could have done it. You would have wasted your power. The scriptures say, do not plant your seed in poor soil. Do not plant your seed in poor soil. Some seeds are meant to just not be thrown to the wayside and be dead on. There's a parable that talks about different forms of planting. Some people plant seed in good soil. Some people plant seed on dry land, and the sun hit it and the birds ate it and took it away. Some other people put seeds in their pockets and didn't even plant the seeds.
I don't disagree with that.
What you own and what you do with it. So I respect that story of what you're sharing, but own your power and be conscious of the distribution of that power. Flagship, what are your thoughts on the subject matter that Full Circle said? And then we're going to pivot into the Dave Chapelle, but I wanted to talk about, again, just making sure that you guys understand the rat race power at whatever level you're at. Now, we've talked about the entertainment level. We talked about those who know how to take it, like Michael Jackson did and Ray Charles, by asking or demanding it. But we're talking about the level that we're at. We're the everyday, average day people. Flagship, talk to the family and tell them, in conclusion of this segment of rat races, I know you are working on your own business. What made you have that mindset of saying, look, I've done everything for everybody else. It is time for me.
Well, the one thing is that I went into business with people who I was doing a marijuana business before, and pretty much, and to go on to what's his name, Full Circle, I was that guy just like you. Okay, these people were poor, they didn't have any money, but they had a skill. They wanted to work. Let me tell you something. Them cats were brilliant. They hustled my black behind all up in and out of my money, telling me that they were working, didn't work. All they did was take from me and empower themselves. That's why when there's certain people, I will never, like those stories, I will never work directly or hire someone who's at that level. I have to work with people who are at equally or maybe a step below, because all they did was just hustle, and they had a thievery individual mindset. And I'm trying to build stuff. I was trying to build something for everybody, and all they had to do was just have what they said. So I understand your story, but maybe give them a little donation and keep it moving. But you don't want to hire people like that. I was that guy.
And Flagship, and I agree. I mean, the story and all in all, I'm not that naive. So I'm agreeing with both of you. That was one thing to analyze. So don't think I'm breaking my neck or I broke my neck to be like, oh, woe is me.
I was a naive guy. I was naive because I was like, oh man, these people are poor. I'm putting them on. I paid the rent, got them set up. They're gonna come and they're gonna give me the skill, and we're gonna make this money. No, they got the skill. They just jacked me, stole, lied, didn't work, and they say they worked. They blame this person, blame that person, and I'm sitting here $400,000 in debt, and they over there living large. I'm like, what the hell happened? Oh man, I got hooked up, and I will never ever be that guy again. I'm like, okay,
and that's from experience, Flagship. That's experience, and I've gone through it too. So I was just sharing my story, Shirley, but I wasn't playing boo boo the fool. Trust and believe. I wasn't.
I was just a short story. That's all I wanted to let you know. I was. Let my story be the Uber the fool. You live your failure through me. So if anyone's thinking about that, I failed. Just let my failure be your failure, and then you already went through it. Now go ahead and get your money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm everyone's failure. I'm everyone's failure. Now go get your money. Okay, you already failed through me. Okay. Gotcha. But also what sparked me to get the skincare line going, because at the same point in time this was going on, I was literally pissed and then wish I was friends with the mafia, because the mafia didn't have these problems. You know what I mean? So I was plotting the death of these individuals who stole from me because I didn't have no power to do it. And so I just had to just let it go. My mom was just like, let it go. I don't want you in jail. Let it go. You're smart. You can keep it moving. And I kind of rebuilt a little bit, but it just hurt because I didn't believe that. I didn't think that I was that naive and stupid. I thought I was smart. I've been around the world. I had street smarts. I didn't think I was that dumb to fall for the okie doke and to be played that hard. But it is what it is. I learned never, ever will that happen again. And so the thing is, I was cussing everybody out, and then I was lotioning myself. And I'm just like, what the hell is the moisturizer? Why am I not moisturized? And I was getting, and it was like I was putting more on. It wasn't coming on. And I was reading the back. It was more chemicals. And I'm like, why am I? And then the price was going up. I couldn't get my coupon, because I used to do extreme couponing a lot. You know that show on TLC, Extreme Couponing? I used to do that a lot. And so I'm like, I can't get my coupons for my Cetaphil no more. I can't get a coupon for my Eucerin. And then the price is going up. The stuff's not moisturizing. They got mineral oil in here now. They changed the recipe. I was like, it can't be that hard to make a damn skin cream. And then that's where it started. So I started going online. I got some books. And so my first skin cream, it didn't smell good, didn't look good. But let me tell you something. It moisturized the hell out of you. And it went into your skin. And you can take a shower. You still moisturize. And so I started making all these recipes and making all this stuff. And then I started going on dealing with cosmetic chemists to strengthen my recipes and make them stable and stuff like that. And I just started coming out with three things that's for real. And so everyone that used it, they're like, oh man, this is perfect, especially with black skin, because we need all those nutrients, because we absorb the sunlight and the sun loves our skin, and we need to have all these oils and nutrients in our skin because our skin loves that stuff. And
but this
so I
is
came out with some stuff.
I love the fact that you identified. Now, notice your energy level went up because you believed in your passion and what you want. How many of you guys got ideas like Flagship? How many of you guys have not stopped and realized, you know what? I've always kind of wanted to do that, but I never did. I'm telling you, don't let Rona be that mirror that you saw with that rat. You're gaining weight, you feel depressed, you're looking at your environment. Flagship and Full of Circle, these are men with good hearts, and they have voices to be heard to tell you it's time to move forward. Go ahead, Flagship. We're going to
and then also one more piece.
And we're going to pivot into another story.
But Sheila, I'll show you one more piece of information. It wasn't just me. So I sat down and got the recipes together. I started saying, how am I going to get this thing going? And then also on top of that, I said, how can I get my mind right? How can I strengthen my body? What weight training could I do? What better meditation could I do? How can I deal with the scar of being robbed? So when I go into business, I trust the right people because I'm going to have people that know what they're doing. But then if I'm scarred, they might be telling me the right information. They might not be here to rob me, but I might not absorb that information because I'm still scarred from the situation. I have to start to figure out a way. So I have to figure out a way to evaluate the good from the bad. And so it's not just get the business going. It's also get my get my body as strong as I possibly can. Maybe make sure my mind is right, my body's right, and surround myself with people who are about success. And one thing that you did, you hooked me up with someone who heard about it on the show and wants to talk to me more about it. That's the kind of people like that I need to be around. People who are going to be about abundance.
I totally agree. Full circle. What's your thought on that?
I love it. Pretty much, I got a big smile on my face when you mentioned as far as Flagship's passion. I come from a similar industry. I hold different like certificates, whatever degrees, but one of my main triumphs was owning a salon. I was a salon owner back in 2010. So when it comes to that industry and type of when it comes to products, like I'm literally, surely I don't know if I told you that, but at least Flagship now, you know, I'm a licensed cosmetologist. Okay. But that's something I only have when I need it. You know what I mean? I hold on to that in the back of my pocket. So literally, as far as the passion, the ideas, I'm so with it. And that's how it was with myself when I first started out, when I first got that business. I used to have a typesetting business in LA, out there on Wilshire. If anyone's familiar with Wilshire, Vermont, back in the days of the Red Onion, back in Mike Tyson's days when he started out Flagship, I had a typesetting business with a buddy. It was pretty much two of us, then it ended up with three of us owning a little business, and he had some investors, and we would make, you know, things like what you see at Kinko's, but you know, but it was back then the homemade version. You know, we would make menus and flyers and this, that, and the other. So I'm well versed when it comes to different type of businesses and the excitement when you have passion behind you. I'm also one that when it comes to ideas, I'll go so far, Flagship and Shirley, to even put out the money to put in for a patent for that idea. When I feel that it's something, and I know they might say like, oh, it's going to cost you some money. I am so involved with my passion when it comes to my idea or ideas that I would literally put out the money. And that's what it comes down to. Let's just be honest once again. These ideas, these businesses, small or large, any type of goal that you might have, it's going to take money. It's going to cost you. It's not going to be that thing where it's like, well, with my hand out, can you just give me? You're going to have to work. You're going to have to put in a lot of work, and you're going to have to put in money behind that. But to add on to what you said, you asked me, Shirley, with Flagship, I commend him. And for anyone who has any type of goals or ideas, never give up. Pursue your goals and your passion, because when it's all said and done, you're going to have to answer to yourself. You know, if you decide to quit, you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror once again, Shirley, and ask yourself, did I not go hard enough? Did this not work? And if you fall, like I have the name Full Circle, find out a way, learn a way to get back up. Figure it out, but don't ever give up. Continue with your passion. That's all you got at the end of the day.
That's it. A large portion to it. It's all you got, but it's also a mindset. It's like changing the patterns. I'm going to go back to pattern changing. I think if we all change our patterns and if how we eat, how we wake up, from the time we get our feet out of that bed and we say, okay, I'm going to change my pattern, and I'm not going to allow the noise of society to dictate what my end of today's outcome is going to be. It's the pattern change that we all need to have. Now, I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, we're going to talk about the Dave Chapelle 846 scenario, and it's going to tie into this conversation because I want you all to realize that essential items that you need for protection during these times are crucial. We all need housing, we all need land, and we need guns. And the reason why I believe African American people do not have guns partly is because we've been told to stay away from them. We've been told they're scary, or we see enough Negroes killing each other, we just don't want to be part of that crew. But the Constitution says you do have the right to bear arms. And there was a time in history where Black Americans weren't as scary as they are today. I believe that fear has gripped our community. We don't protect each other. We don't speak up for each other. And we disposition ourselves, write this down, we disposition ourselves by the location of where we live. Because there was a one point in time in California, you had the right to bear arms and you could do open carry. Open carry means like in Texas, you can wear a gun and an officer can see you with that and you have your permits and your license and you're cool. In California, they don't allow open carry. Matter of fact, if you say you have a gun in certain states, they will go ahead and have you arrested. But Dave Chapelle partly shared a little bit of this in his video, But there's a young man named Colion. I want you to hear him, and I want to watch this video. I want you to hear what he has to say, because I want us as African American people to protect ourselves and to invest in ourselves and to understand the history of ourselves. Because the more the truth is told, the better we are. When we don't know the truth, we have problems. So let's hear the truth from this story.
May or may not be after you. Before I start this video, I just want to say that I no longer have any affiliation with the NRA. I had no contact with them for over a year now, and I have no knowledge about what is currently going on at the NRA. However,
Wait, is that Colion Noir saying he has no contact with the NRA? Hello? Anybody there?
I'm here, Flagship. I think that's what he said.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Shirley, you still here? She's quiet.
This is something that's game changing right here, because Colion Noir was the poster child of Black NRA membership. And for him to come out and say, "Oh my God, yes."
Well, I didn't know that.
Literally,
I've seen him before. Yeah.
I never even have thought of the NRA until I saw his behind up on there. And I was like, okay, let me give it a look. Like, for example, I didn't think about voting for Trump until Diamond and Silky Omarosa was talking. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, there. Oh, I think she's on. Oh,
yeah, we can hold it down. That's fine. Go ahead, Flagship. Yeah.
And so one of the things, the thing is for him to say that, and you know, and I have my reservation about the NRA because my grandfather was telling me about the NRA, and because he's from Charleston, South Carolina, so he was telling me about how shady and stuff they were. And so, but when I joined the Marine Corps, you know, I got different. Even though my grandfather told me about that, I thought that things were changing because they were there recruiting, and they were recruiting like Marines and stuff. I think they were just recruiting Marines. I was just one of the Black Marines there, and they signed me up for a little bit. But then I went to a meeting, and I was like, oh, this is definitely not me.
Well, you know what but you know what's interesting, Flagship? I'm gonna throw this in before Shirley jumps back in. She mentioned the three things. Like I've got 2 out of the 3 covered. The one thing I'm working on is the land. Definitely the land. I have here at home, and I'm looking at. I put up TEDx, the TEDx TDX. You know, the ones that's there. There's public speakers, because I'm really into the TEDx speakers. You know, the ones that come on the stage. And every day, Flagship, I'll write up some goals for the day. And last weekend, the goals that I had written was land. But every chance I get, this is just me, I'll just erase the board. Even though I haven't accomplished that part of the goal, land, I'll have other things written down too on my like chalkboard. That's what it is. It's literally a chalk eraser board. And I'll just erase it or take some paper towel and just wipe it down. But it's pretty much like they say, write this stuff down, write it down. But once again, I have 2 out of the 3 things accomplished. But remind you, regardless if you're a gun owner or against guns or you're with guns, you got to be able to protect you know what you own. You know what I mean? Just like those ones out there. If you really look at it, you could be against guns, you could be I can't deal with guns. I mean, look at what we're dealing with. You know, we don't know when it comes to the police if they're going to be able to be there for you, if they'll just be taken away as a hold. You have all this, even when your line of business, with your business and property and whatever you have of ownership, you got to be able to protect that. So pretty much like for myself, I'm a proud gun owner, and I know they're back up and down in Congress, you know, trying to fight against it between, you know, remember Hillary and whoever else during that time, and even up until now was, oh, no guns. You know, it's going to always be that. Flagship, you know, fighting against gun ownership, you know, the gun ownership or gun owners, who can have them and who can't. But that's going to be a hell of a fight. I think that fight is going to go on for a long time until we're like dead and gone, you know. So it's like, good luck with that. You know, I don't know the outcome, but for right now, you know, just be able to protect yourself and protect what you own and your family. And we're going way back from back in the days till now. That has always been a situation, you know, just be able to protect yours, you know.
I can't wait. Well, when Shirley gets back, I think she's going to go into the Mulford Act and talk about how you know, because, you know, one thing that ticks me off is that interview with Tommy Lahren and Charlemagne Charlemagne the fraud, or I'm sorry, the God. I mean, I'm sorry, and so and the thing is, he's picked as the new black person. Now, when it comes to hip hop, the music industry, black music, movies, and stuff like that, Charlemagne is that dude. He doesn't need to prep. He doesn't need to do anything. He knows it like the back of his hand. But when it comes to politics, he's not that guy. And so he's trying to transition into it. And so because he doesn't have the wherewithal with everything, he's the guy to talk to, so they can kind of get their propaganda out. The fact that Tommy Lahren tried to say that the Black Panthers is a terrorist organization, and completely omitting the fact that the Klan was the police, and that there's over, at that time, I think it was 130 black towns that were torn down by racist people who were jealous, and to skip over the reason why the Black Panthers came about, to skip over the reason why the Demon Deacons came about, skip over why the Deacons of Defense came out. She just skipped over the entire why. They made it seem like everyone's Princess Perfect, everything's great. There's the celestial choirs you sing from the heavens, and black people have all this opportunity, and then out of nowhere, black people just want to storm the Capitol with guns, and they were a terrorist group. I wish I could just jump. Don't you wish that you could just jump in somebody's brain and then check somebody and then jump out?
I thank you guys for keeping it going, because I got
Shirley.
My own thread. Let me ask you this: isn't it interesting how those black people were? They knew law, though. They knew law. They knew their rights. We have been broken like a back cattle sack horse.
We sure have.
I mean, black people just then gave off. We just give everything away. We don't try. The people back then, I mean, they were beasts. They were beasts. What happened to us?
Liberals.
Your best bet. Your best bet is as good as mine.
I know exactly. Oh, I know what happened to us. Liberals. And the the civil rights fossils, the John Lewis's, all they fought for was to be like, we're just like you. We're just like, let us show you we're just like you. Bump all that. We are not like them.
And the CBC, our flagship, and the CBC. Don't forget they butts. They outdated dinosaurs.
Every single one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing was, I honestly believe that Jesse Jackson, John Lewis, John Conyers, Andrew Young, those were the people who sat down with the FBI and said, look, and I'm going to use allegedly all the way around, look, let me tell you about this. We'll let you get rid of King, Malcolm, Medgar, all these people, but we want to be the new whisperers. We want to be the new people. We want to be funded for all this different stuff. I want to be mayor. I want to go to Wall Street and be these guys. And guess what happened? Because remember, and you get all, and they always tell you who they really are. Andrew Young said on what's his name, Chris Todd's show, that the Klan were the forgotten people. Are you effing insane? If you, after everything that has happened to us, and you being Martin Luther King's best friend in 2017, can say that the Ku Klux Klan men were freaking forgotten people. You were a barbaric traitor to King, and you had everything to do with his death. I will never honor you in your death. I'm going to Atlanta in his death, and I'm going to piss on that damn funeral grave. That demon had everything to do with him being dead, as well as Messy Jesse. Jesse wanted to be run for president. He ran for it twice. Congratulations. Guess what? So your people are in the same position, they're in a worse position now than it was when you sold us out. And guess what? You still are getting respect from the community. People don't like him. So what they did was they wanted to be the Negro Whisperers. So all the police brutality, it all continued. We're still doing we're dealing with the same stuff now.
The generation that are now in office are the Black Whisperers, and they have detrimentally helped contribute to the demise of where we are today with Lyndon B. Johnson and the backdoor deals that they continue to make their pockets lined up, and the Black community is suffering from it. In the meantime, you got all these other people, Cortez, that are growing up being elected officials who are fighting for her people. She's not even fighting for her district. She's fighting for her own culture of people. These people are cultural driven, but our culture of people forgot about us. They just forgot about us, and they fighting everybody else's battle.
But Shirley, catch on to this. The ones that you mentioned that should be doing the job, check it out, flagship, that should be doing the job. Have you noticed, and it would be nice, I guess in a perfect world, for those ones that should be doing the job to sit back and say, you know what, this is over my head. This is bigger than my pay grade. I need to step down and give it to someone that can do the job. Have you noticed they won't even step down or step back and say, you know what, instead of doing a service, they're doing a disservice. That's the part that hurts. To see it when it's all said and done, as time goes on, as we get older, and knowing that there could be so much that could be done. Because like you said, Shirley, compared to the Black Panthers that were beasts, what has happened? They know it too. But like you said, those liberals flagship, and I'm with you on that, they don't want it. They want it to be exactly where it is, to be dug straight into the ground, 6 feet deep.
But they had strategy. The Black Panthers had strategy, even though they were looked at as negative, and a lot of their ideas were put into place, like social service ideas were Black schools and Black
school
children
lunches.
Now those social services are put into place in American law, and yet they have always been portrayed as evil people. The Black Panthers were evil. They just knew their power and who they are. We just talked about power with D.L. Hughley. We talked about how if you don't get the power, you take the power. They took the power when it came to guns and understanding their district, and then government came in and wrote laws that dispositioned the entire state, including white Americans, when they said you have no rights to have open carry. That's a problem when you have elected officials who are demising you and working in not in your best interest, but in their best position.
And then on top of that, what made it even worse was that you had people trying to be in favor with massa. They was just telling them all, like, for example, like Angela Davis, she was also another agent. And come to find out, she's all about some intersectionality and all about let's talk about this, talk about that. All these people that we look at revolutionary, we looking back at them like, wait a minute, you ain't no revolutionary. You was a snitch, and you ruined everything. And the thing is, and the sad part is now is that they let these liberals come in with the feminism. There's a clear cut date or year, 2 years, where everything in the Black community fell off the rails. 1963 to 1966. And it was a time where feminism came in, these LBJ growth policies, where the Black man was mandated to stay out of the community, stay out of the house, even if they were married, and Black women was pushed on welfare. Well, let's talk about how Black women were pushed on welfare, because of 100 years of terrorism in Black economic districts. And when there wasn't terrorism, the highway system went straight through the town. And then it frustrates me when all these economists say, I don't know what's wrong with the Black community when Asians did well, when Latinos are doing well. Well, guess what? They got free money when they came up over here. And they're getting executive orders of $9 million. There was no executive order for us. Everything that we got on our own through 5 cents, 10 cents, $1, $10, and we put it all together. Okay, I don't got no money, but I got skills. I know how to make food. Okay, we'll get you a restaurant popping. I got a building we can use. And we came together, and then right when we get going, here comes the freaking terrorists to come tear it all down. And then and it's literally over 110 towns were torn down through terrorism. So miss me all damn day with this, oh, I don't know why you guys can't get together. And let's also consider the fact that there was also lynching. The lynchings were not just random people. The lynching occurred who are prominent Black businessmen in the community. The Black businesswomen would get beat up or raped, but the Black businessmen were lynched and castrated. So let's not forget that. And when you take out 10, 12, 13, 14, 15,000 Black men with money, that's going to change a community, especially since the fact that we live in like 13, 14 different areas of the country. That's going to affect the community. And the thing is, the fact that Tomi Lahren skipped all that history and just said the Black Panthers were terrorists. Are you insane? If I can just like kind of what's it called? Time travel to there and roundhouse kick her in the damn neck and then bounce right back out, that would have been the time. And that's the problem. We have all these people getting on TV that don't, like, for example, Charlemagne, and shouldn't be talking. We don't know the history. Tomi Lahren should have been fed and ate her lunch and told to sit your blonde hair behind down and shut the hell up, you freaking crazy Karen Becky.
But flagship, that'll go back to what Shirley said back, I think 2 videos ago, or I can't recall how many videos. Even when I was on the panel, flagship, Shirley said it. We need to have ones that are educated to speak for us. We can't just have anybody speaking for us. So that you gave with the Charlemagne or whatever Maine, as you put it, the name you gave him, he's an example of one that should not be speaking for us, because For him,
Right, but the thing is, they're put there for a reason, though.
Right,
The liberals
exactly.
put these people there. Like, for example, Billy Porter. They put him there for a reason because the energy, because all this energy that came up out with Floyd, that came from the grassroots, from Shirley, from Jason Black, Tariq. I mean, the grassroots been going for 10 years. All this is a culmination of that, and they couldn't change the energy without getting other Black people to do it. So then, like, for example, Michael Eric Dyson tried to come out. That didn't work. They tried to send the pastors out, which is the civil rights law. That didn't work. John Lewis got booed out the thing. So then they said, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna start calling you guys homophobic.
But
we're gonna start putting on our
I want to ask you gentlemen this question.
Yeah, sure.
Because I want to stick to the subject matter of knowing our rights, knowing our power, seeing how government saw how we realized the power, and then they dispositioned it by really quickly putting laws in place to dismantle us. What law?
Exactly, but it's not just the laws, though, Shirley. It's also people to dismantle our energy too.
They're pretty much surely covering all their bases. Like I'm with you, Flagship. They're covering all their bases. Yeah.
It's still
yeah. Every move you make, they're taking 2 or 3 moves. Isn't that wild? Right. For every move you make, I'm taking 2 or 3. So, and they're covering the bases so well, it's almost like they're literally in not individual groups' heads to be like, you know what? We can almost tell what you're thinking. You know what I mean? They literally. So you think to yourself, Flagship, get a kick at this. You were like, I already had this in plan. I was going to change this and put this into place. As far as changing the laws and writing up petitions, whatever I got to do, play the role, play the game, and try to put it into effect. Some way, somehow, and Flagship mentioned this, they'll put a person physically or something in place towards like ding dong, which is that, not like that, but I'm gonna ding ding ding, knock you like Bugs Bunny hitting the thumps on the head. How many thumps would you like? How many sugars would you like? And he comes out Bugs Bunny or whatever with the thumps on the coyote's head. Boom boom. Those are the thumps you put on my head. I just wanted, I was trying to do the right thing, but it's like playing you. We've been played. Yeah. We've been literally played, and every move we make, it's like, nope, it's literally like the cat and mouse race. When you put that rat up in that little puzzle maze and the rat is trying to figure it out, the mouse, and he's hitting this wall and hitting that wall, and he keeps hitting each corner. That's how it seems and feels like we are. We're literally, we're in that maze. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Hey, Shirley, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, and another thing is, too, is like, for example, the thing is, they couldn't change the energy, but then they said, we're going to infiltrate it by changing the argument to LGBT. And that's what pisses me off. We got all this economic problem in the Black community to include gay people too, because they Black too. And somehow they changed the whole energy. And the thing is, these racist liberals who run the TV network, they only gave coverage to the Black Lives Matter people and changed and tried to change. Well, they try to change the whole energy, but so they got the little law passed. Apparently, rich white gay people were being discriminated in the workplace, which I didn't even think that was a thing because I remember being called the N-word by a rich racist lesbian. But I guess we can't talk about that, can we? So here's the thing. So they try to change the energy, but it's now going back, and now what they're doing is trying to cover it with coronavirus. But the thing is, they don't understand there is a problem, and the Democrats are scrambling. They're going to keep everything shut down because they know the energy is not pro-Democratic Party right now. They're trying to diminish Trump's energy at his rallies. They're trying to make the economy horrible so he can't take credit for that. And they're trying to keep Black people at bay and not keep our conversation out so we can just go shut up and vote like we've always been doing as pawns and bring some who is the worst person in the world, Joe Biden, who is a bona fide racist, period, point blank, the end, who is worse than all the presidents combined times 50 or 45, and to vote for him. That's what this whole coronavirus thing is about.
So,
but it's got to be. Sorry, Shirley.
I totally agree with you. Listen, we're talking about taking the power that you're talking about because everybody else took it away from us. I want to play. I'm going to do stop and play. I want to go back to the past, so I want you to understand the reason I'm showing you this video is because they had structure. How can we come up with a structure and a mindset like the Panthers did? Not saying that we're the new Black Panther, because I know that they're out there. That's not the point. So I don't want to scare the whites that are following us. But what I want you to understand is that we should learn something from Huey Lewis, rest in peace. We should learn something from these people who know codes. They know the codes. They know the SB1 bills. They know the name of the bill and what it relates to we don't speak in that dialect. This is important, people, that we understand we need to have the right dialect in our mouths. So when we speak on a matter, we're not just emotionally driven by the circumstance. We absolutely know what to say because we did our homework. And when they come up to you, you can say SB 52 bill or whatever, and then you start quoting bills. They have to go back and do their homework, and they get quiet because they go, I don't know if she's lying or telling the truth. Let me look this up. So if you don't want to be the dum-dum in the room, you have to know your power. And then don't get it twisted, just like Flagship said, and just like Full Circle said, they're going to come in and they're gonna say, oh shit, they got this. We got to stay one under 2 steps ahead of these people. But right now, it's Black Power Month. It's Black Power Year, right? Y'all need to be running this black thing as long as you can because everybody else is pivoting off our pain. There is no profit in the cure. And the only cure that's going to be in place right now is to be able to say, are Black people taking advantage of what is not being given and what is being given to us? Because COVID-19 is kicking us all in the ass. So I'm going to do what I call stop and play. I'm going to play a little of this video. And you gentlemen, when you say, Shirley, can you stop the video? I want your comment. I want your comment. Let's see if I can get this right this time. Oh, geez. I don't know what happened. Hold on.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Stop and play. This is stop and play.
Police patrols.
In early 1967, the Black Panthers organized armed patrols through the poorest neighborhoods of Oakland, California, an act that some call the beginning of the modern gun rights movement.
We would get out of the cars. We would walk up to the scene. Those who had rifles, who carried them in the open, clearly visible.
We would stand at a distance where the police couldn't say they were interfering with their arrest or their detention of the individual, and make sure that there was no brutality.
The police were confronted by citizens who were not just voicing their opinions, but were armed.
Whether they are Democrat or Republican, the government is always looking to gain power. That is why the founding fathers wrote the Bill of Rights as a list of things the government can't do as opposed to a list of things they can do. And as you can probably guess, the idea of a group of men with guns policing the police didn't sit too well with the powers that be.
But we've been...
But wait a minute, isn't this abuse of power? I'm gonna stop the video right here because this is what happened then is still affecting us today. It's still today. The abuse of power of policemen with guns in communities walking around bullying us because they're bullies. These people are bullies.
Yep.
Bullies with a badge. They were bullies with a badge then. And the way that the Black Panthers approached it was like, okay, we know there's a hunting right law. They start finding loopholes. My question to you, family, is why are we looking for loopholes in this COVID-19 pandemic that we're in right now? Why are we looking at loopholes instead of commenting on, oh, I don't want to hear about Shalom to God. I don't want to hear about whatever. Why are we looking for loopholes that benefit us?
Yep.
Because if we're not looking for the loopholes like they did, then we're just being reactive. For every action is a reaction. For every non-action is the aftermath. And the aftermath may not be what you want, but at least you tried. The Black Panthers gave it a good shot because they sat back and said, okay, you can bear arms, so can we. We can do open carry. So then the cops got scared. Remember, white people are scared of us for whatever reason. If you're darker hue, they are scared of you. Look at the people.
Well, surely. They sure found a loophole in Trump's when it came to that DACA. Did you hear what they said? They said, yeah, it was okay all up until certain things that ended up getting DACA temporarily passed. You saw how they nipped that. They was like, nah, we saw some things that Trump didn't fully do. So pretty much this is where we are. Now he's going to go ahead and refile, he has the opportunity to do that, but it went back to what you said just now, Shirley, as far as looking for loopholes. When it comes to anything, going back to 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead, there's always someone back at the drawing board or somewhere in the coffin or back in the not in the grave, but down in the basement working on some type of, like you said, plan. They're looking on, if it's a group, individual, I don't care. They're looking at loopholes. They're looking for any type of little crack or little hole in the wall, any little type of way to ease on in to be like,
loopholes in our own
but
life.
are we? Absolutely. Exactly.
Are we? I'm asking
I don't think we are. No. I'm saying I don't think we are. And if we are, we're not looking hard enough. I have to say no, we're not. And if we were, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yep. And that's why I tell everybody I'm done. I'm done with it all because I'm tired of these people. I'm tired of the BS and all this energy that we. And the thing is, what pissed me off. And just a little quick side note: we were talking about loopholes and solutions and stuff like that. Keisha Bottom said, "Don't go out, riot, go vote." And the thing is, we have been voting, and we've been voting. We've been telling, we've been talking, but something is happening to where what we vote for and who we're voting for, they're not doing what we want to do. We need to figure out a way to get these people to obey, because all the stuff we've been voting for, they're voting for doing stuff for everyone else but us. It's like anything that they say, just listen to them, but don't do anything. Just smile and hug and say, "Praise the Lord" with a kente cloth. I'm done with it all.
Okay, this is stop and play. I'm gonna play.
These Black Panthers showed up some weeks ago at the airport to meet the widow of Malcolm X, carrying the same thing. And the only thing we could find to book them on then, and we couldn't book them, was if they had a live round in the breach and they were transporting guns around in automobiles. I submit to you is preposterous. And in this urban society that we have in California, with the Fish and Game Code and looking at municipal fire ordinances to try and prevent people from carrying weapons around in an excited and hostile atmosphere.
So let me stop. So what happened was they realized that they would take butt ahead of the guns and hurt threaten you, but they wouldn't do anything. So the Black Panthers found a loophole in the gaming and fishing laws. They said that, hey, you guys, you have the right to walk around and hunt. There was still a lot of agriculture in California back then. You don't see a lot of agriculture today. California's ran on entertainment and tech community, but we were very agriculturally driven back then. So people had a lot of land still back then. So guns, as far as the right to carry, was open, and people had fishing rights, licensing. So Black Panther people said, we found a loophole. We don't carry guns. Why? Because it says we can, and they followed everything to the law. So these white people said, oh my God, we're just gonna take the law and we're gonna change it for everyone in the state. They continue to dismantle the Constitution, which eventually white colonists, this is what happens when you disrupt things thinking that you're dismantling us. You have now dismantled yourself. You've dismantled yourself. Right. Because when you thought you were hurting Black people, there's a lot of white people probably would still be alive today if we had the right to bear arms and walk around here in California with our guns. But we can't. And you want to blame the Black Panthers. No, blame this white man right here who said it was preposterous. That's who you should blame. Blame your legislators. Don't blame Black people. We're just trying to operate on the same laws and rights as you do. You just don't like us to have the same stuff. Let's keep going.
Cub Scouts milling around. There were children up for picnic with the governor. When this group met Saturday in Richmond, we took aerial shots of them from a helicopter in the meeting. They sealed off a block in Richmond with armed guards at each corner with riflemen on the roof. In the midst
I'm sorry, Shirley. I'm gonna have to get off listening to this guy. I'm getting angry at the moment. I gotta go. I'll come back in a minute.
Okay, listen, the interesting part is that the Koreans, when we had the situation that just happened recently, they were able to get on top of the buildings, okay? When they had those huge riots in LA and they got all the way into Beverly Hills and everything, nobody complained about that. This is what we're talking about. When Flagship and when Full Circle had mentioned the immigrants are able to leverage the rights that are in place within the Constitution that you can bear arms. You're not supposed to do open carry in California, but guess what? All those store owners were doing open carry. Did they arrest them? No, they arrested Black people. They arrested Black people. these were patterns, and the Black Panthers with the situation with the guns was in Oakland, California. That's what I want you to understand with this story. I want you to understand with the story. See, other people find loopholes, they take advantage of them, they disrupt the law, they break the law, and they don't do anything to them. They don't punish them. We obey the law, we find loopholes in the law, and they still come after us.
Not only that, Shirley, we obey the law and still get beat up and killed and wrongfully convicted.
And they get it all on film and camera as they walk around. Oh my God, please, let's keep playing.
So with children, and I think we've listened to these people who are afraid of some kind of bureaucratic takeover of arms. We've got to emphasize again that no one wants to touch the legitimate hunter, but we've got to protect society from nuts with guns.
In response to the Black Panthers using guns to police the police, Republican legislator Don Mulford introduced a bill to repeal the law that permitted citizens to carry loaded weapons in public places. Keep in mind, this bill was co-sponsored by 3 Democratic legislatures as well. Then in response to the introduction of this bill, the Black Panthers decided to march on the California state capitol with their guns to protest the Mulford Act.
At the time, California law permitted citizens to carry loaded weapons as long as they were visible.
Hey, can you guys mute your phone while the video plays? I appreciate it. We hear a lot of
sorry, that was me.
Yeah, just mute your phone. Okay, thank you, dear. But come when you want to. Okay, let's keep playing.
State legislature took up a bill to prohibit individuals from carrying loaded weapons. The Panthers, heavily armed, entered the state capitol to demonstrate for their right to bear arms.
We went to the legislature to protest the gun law that was being debated at the time, and we felt that if there was a right to bear arms under the Second Amendment, then we should have a right to bear arms.
I can say without a doubt that it was this march that all but guaranteed that the Mulford Act would not only pass, but make it pass faster, as Bill AB 1591 was made an urgency statute under Article 4, Section 8D of the Constitution of California, after an organized band of men armed with loaded firearms entered the Capitol. The bill passed the democratically controlled Assembly with a 2/3 majority and passed the also democratically controlled Senate 29 votes to 7, and was then signed into law by then Governor Ronald Reagan. So the question remains, was the Mulford Act racist? Well, it was the 1960s, and that wasn't exactly a time known for their racial tolerance. But according to Don Mulford, it wasn't racially motivated.
Mr. Mulford, your bill, you held your bill back. Frankly, what do you have in mind?
Well, first, it's my intention to make it a felony to bring a loaded weapon into the state capitol. I think that the incident points out that shockingly that the laws are inadequate, but also serves to emphasize the fact that the laws are inadequate to protect the innocent public when bands of armed people, let me make it perfectly clear, this has nothing to do with any racial incident, because in my testimony yesterday, there were 5 white groups I discussed and 1 Negro group.
Yeah, Negro group.
But they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything until people started to protect. That's what they always do. They leave with everything. The Klan's been around for, at this point, a whole century. And they were been going around the black neighborhood with their guns and killing and lynching. They didn't do no Mulford Act then, but when folks was like, oh, we're going to defend our lives, defend our women, defend our children. Oh, no, we can't have that. The police. And it reminds you, at the same time, the Klans were turning into the police. It's what happens all throughout history. Every time we start benefiting, here they come with the new, we gotta right size the law. Miss me all goddamn day. That's why I cannot stand these damn liberals. That's why I cannot stand these damn Republicans, because they're all the same. From Mitt Romney to freaking Nancy Pelosi. They all can go to hell with that Confederate flag G-string they wrote in on.
When bands of armed people with loaded weapons can move about our streets, intimidating and frightening citizens, and I think we should act, and we intend to act.
There's also
they were not intimidating and frightening people. They were protecting their own community. They were protecting Black community. Again, this is where we have a problem when we talk about white supremacists and white empowerment. Listen, I know there's white people who follow my video. You need to understand the history of America and the history of white supremacists. This was a supreme move upon us, no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that this was, because they were scared that these Black people were able to rise up take a section of America, which was in California, and protect it. Now, fast forward, you get this today. And there's certain people, Muslims, that have taken over California. They got the audacity to put signs up saying, please do not do not let your dog poop in the neighborhood. This is the Muslim community. They're quick to tell you about their communities. We have become a bad version of Epcot in California. It's just, and nobody complained to them. We have always been trying to carve out our America. And every time we do within their guidelines, look what it gets us.
But Shirley, it's the same. It's no different from the Tulsa flagship, and Shirley, it's no different from the Tulsa riots in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The same thing happened just about. They were protecting, blacks were protecting their own. Whites had stepped in. The military, the ones that either they were serving at the time or either retired, had to step in, and they were overcome, when it came down to it, and they had to take up arms, the black men, to protect their community. And this is back then. So the same thing, as they say, history repeats itself, is all it is history repeating itself. And it's going to continue to repeat itself. And like you said, Flagship, as long as right now where we're at, as long as these liberals have their way and get their way, because every time something pops up, Shirley, you're right. A law is rewritten. Oh my gosh, oh my goodness, we cannot have this. We better switch it up. It's just every chance. It's like the mouse in the maze. Once you find an exit and a way, there's another little wall that comes up in front of that mouse. And the mouse, I know, not being able to be like a thinking creature, is probably, if he could think, if he could talk and say, what kind of mess is this? What is this? I was almost out of the maze, and you're gonna put a wall in front of me? All I want to do is get to the cheese. Can I get some cheese? Can I get some cheddar? I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, using that as an example. That's how it is with us. It's like all we want is just a piece of the pie. In fact, we really have come down to want the whole pie. Not even that. We want the whole pie. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Not even that. Not only it's not about how the piece. We just want the opportunity to compete justifiably for said piece.
Right.
And that's the thing that ticks me off, is because I have competed on the battlefield of competition in sales, and they don't get no more hood than pharmaceutical sales. And the thing is, and it's not even just myself. I've seen like black people in sales, we get it, we tear it up. But yet when it comes time for promotion, it's not about competition. It's about something philosophical that you just can't even tangibly change about yourself, who you are, or it's always something weird. And then what happens is it's this underachieving struggle person that gets the position over you, and then you're now reevaluated by your ability to teach that person all your skill to make them better.
Flagship, you forgot one thing. You forgot the part that, and don't forget, you're overqualified. In some cases, you're overqualified. Right. Yeah.
And that's one of the things, and that's one of the reasons why that's why I believe with Shirley is we got to be about business, about supporting ourselves, and we need to make these networks and literally lock out everything that is exclusive, that anything other than economics and military, we need to cut it out. Period. We don't want to talk about that. We're not talking about anybody else's rights. If you Christian or Muslim or gay or straight, you black, okay, come over here. We don't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? If you're a tranny, okay, make some shoes or whatever. We don't care. Whatever. Go. We don't care about nothing else. We're black, and we need to come together as ourselves. That's what has to happen. I'm done with these people.
Play and talk. Hold on. Here we go.
Don Mulford to Ronald Reagan that says in part that the Black Panther movement is creating a serious problem, and that the bill was introduced at the request.
Flagship, you need to put yourself on mute.
What? I'm not doing nothing.
I know. We can hear your noise in the background.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
And frightening citizens, and I think we should act, and we intend to act.
There's also a letter written to Don Mulford to Ronald Reagan that says in part that the Black Panther movement was creating a serious problem, and that the bill was introduced at the request of the Oakland Police Department. He goes on to say that he can't help feeling that the people of California are concerned about individuals armed with loaded weapons walking the streets of our communities in numbers. This sounds awfully familiar to the same anti-gun rhetoric that we hear today from our anti-gun politicians about people open carrying today. As for the NRA's motivation, I can only go off what they said at the time. On May 3rd, 1967, the NRA published the article, Who Guards America's Homes? The NRA got a lot of backlash from this article. In this article, the NRA talks about civil unrest and how recent upticks in civil unrest will strain not only the police, but the National Guard to such a degree that it will require citizens to be their own first responders, protectors of their homes and communities. I've read the article. It literally sounds like any one of the videos I've done during this pandemic. However, this didn't stop white vigilante extremist groups from using articles like this to justify their cause. And as a result, people started linking the NRA with extremist groups. The NRA openly rejected these groups, and after several NRA members were linked to other extremist groups, the NRA went so far as to make it a requirement to oppose extremism before joining the NRA. They even wrote several press releases denouncing armed extremism and vigilantism. But the NRA never excluded anyone from the organization based on their race or color. At the time, the Black Panthers were a new group. They weren't really known nationally until they marched on the state capitol with guns, which had never been done by any group ever. So California lawmakers were terrified, and were even more terrified when they realized it was legal for the Black Panthers to do this.
Look, they were terrified. White people were terrified. Are white people terrified today with the Black Lives Matter or with black people? Because Black Lives Matter is not black lives, nor is it black people. So what are white people terrified of right now? Because they were terrified then and they're terrified now.
Well, they're just a group of weak individuals overall, and they know they know our history and what we did better than we do, and they don't want us to have a moment of peace, because if we're like a plant that's left alone, we will grow big and prosperous. And that's why we always have these skirmishes that keep happening all of a sudden. That's why they integrated the school, so we can have these struggle weak teachers teaching our kids BS, how to memorize stuff instead of how to think. They know that if we're left alone, we're gonna do some really great things. That's why everywhere you go, there's always them walking around. Oh, hi. How are ya? Get the hell out the damn paint.
Karen, where you are? Why are you in front of my car, Karen? Well, what do you want, Karen? What are you doing? Where are you going? How are you? What is Karen promoting? That's all I want to know.
I'm just so interested. I'm just asking. I'm just so interested. It's just intriguing. I'm just fascinated.
Yeah.
Get the hell up my damn thing.
Where are you? It's like, if the best thing that Frederick Douglass said that white people could do is just leave us alone. Unfortunately, just so that you guys know the difference in time frame, I think that was in the 70s or late 60s. That was 40 to 60%. No, 30 to 40% of California was African American. We don't have, but we're down to 6% now. We're down to 6%. There were black communities and black areas. We had black and white people. We have been pushed, set aside, killed, ostracized, and incarcerated and maimed through Planned Parenthood. How much more pain can you put on a culture of people? Somebody talk black to me. Shout out to Vicky Diller. Let's keep playing.
They knew the Black Panthers were there to kill people, so they freaked out and rammed the Mulford Act through. Everyone was overreacting at this time.
The head of the Black Panthers, Mr. Huey Newton, said that this is a punitive thing, again done by the white race to the black race. Do you feel that that's true, that the conspiracy charges are punitive?
Well, at least debatably or arguably so. If only in view of my original information that they were going to file misdemeanors when I first called and inquired, and then hours later or the next day, which is today, it's decided to aggravate the charge or increase the charge for the same act. It might appear in a way that they could be making a mountain out of a molehill, and I say this without attempting to minimize anything which the men may have done. It may be argued that they took extreme measures to protest a pending law, but here again, two wrongs not making a right. It might appear that the other side is now taking extreme measures to punish a measure which was essentially, I think, was a civil rights protest.
There are a good number of people who believe the NRA is racist because they believe that the first and only time the NRA supported any type of gun control law was when black people, i.e. the Black Panthers, exercised their Second Amendment rights. However, this is not true. The NRA of that time had a well-documented history of not only supporting, but helping to write a multitude of gun control laws well before either the Mulford Act or the Black Panthers ever existed. This might confuse a lot of people considering how hard the NRA of today fights against gun control. But you have to view the NRA the same way you view Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, and Miley Cyrus, I Came In Like a Wrecking Ball. Same people, totally different personalities. One is sweet, nice, and passive, and wants to look reasonable to the world, while the other is in your face and unapologetically non-compromising. If you ask me, I prefer the latter. The NRA was founded by 2 Union Civil War veterans and a former New York Times reporter in 1871. They started the NRA because the Civil War proved that the Northerners couldn't really shoot or handle guns that well, and that the Civil War went on longer than it needed to because of this very reason. So they formed the NRA stating that they wanted to promote and encourage rifle shooting on a scientific basis. The NRA of that time, up until the 1960s, was a glorified gun group focused on sports shooting and hunting. So basically, they were a bunch of fuds, old fuds, not the new ones. Hell, in 1939, Carl T. Frederick, the president of the NRA at the time, testified before Congress stating, "I have never believed in the general practice of carrying weapons. I do not believe in the general promiscuous toting of guns. I think it should be sharply restricted only under licenses." Now, ask yourself, does that sound like the NRA of today? Keep in mind, the NRA is over 140 years old. They've been around since the time of slavery. So yeah, there is an exceedingly high chance that throughout its over 100 plus years of existence, at one time or another, the NRA had some full-blown racists in their leadership, which would be the case for just about any organization, company, or party that existed for that long. So that's not really saying much. For nearly a century, the NRA was willing to compromise on gun control laws, giving up a little here and a little there to seem reasonable. Then the summer riots of 1967 and the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. happened, which caused Congress to enact the Gun Control Act of 1968, where they tried to mandate a national registry of all guns and a license for all gun carriers.
I'm gonna stop right here. It is interesting to me though, every time, it's like every action is a reaction. When something happens in history that curtails the powers that be of what they don't like, then they put another law into place. My question to you in 2020, we have a lot of laws that are in place that are for and against us, and also dismantled. The civil rights has been dismantled. The new human rights are now in place. The immigrants and the illegals have come in and they've dismantled us. DACA has dismantled us. NAFTA has dismantled us. These are purposeful moves that they've done to suppress us and erase us. Like I told you, we're on the verge of being eliminated, annihilated. And so my question is to the family who are still with us, thank you for watching and getting the thumbs up and sharing this video. I know we've covered a lot of subject matters, but we're talking about self-corona evaluation, looking at yourself, looking at America, looking at your rights, looking at the manipulation of government. I want to ask you gentlemen this question. If we look at this portion of what he's talking about, how they come in, we know there's law this way, but they pivoted away into something else. How do we stay ahead of all these contrasts? What do we do? Because we know if we do A, they're going to do B. How do we know to prepare for B to do C? Flagship, what's your thought on it?
Well, I was told to go on mute, so I was being oppressed. So I'm back now.
Your noise was oppressing us. We couldn't hear the video.
he being funny.
No, I'm back. I'm free at last. So just kidding.
So if we do A and they're going to do B, how do we prepare for C? Because this is a pattern. The story that we're hearing is a pattern.
No, but the thing is that here's the thing. They've always been this way, but the thing is, back in the day, they were on code. And one of the things is, and the thing is, one thing I've been researching since I got robbed or whatever, is been researching like war, and I've been reading books by warrior madmen. And one thing that I think Napoleon said this: he would rather have he would rather have an army of sheep led by lions than have a whole bunch of lions led by sheep. And it's about the leadership, and it's about having the mindset. It doesn't matter how strong or whatever you are. who has the mindset of wanting to win. And they did the same thing back then. Back in the day, they didn't have social media, they didn't have the Billy Porters, but they had the equivalent of those individuals who would infiltrate and go into society and mess things up. But the thing is, we need to get on code. We're off code right now. We have to have a code of just about us. That's the beginning. Once that's squared away, everything else can work.
So do we go back to a thinking of like the underground movement where sometimes we tell too much of our business to these people? Are we
Yes, and we're too much, and get off of social media. Stop talking about social media. We need to start coming together in groups of individuals and talking to each other. Because, like, for example, like right now, case in point that's really ticking me off that no one's really talking about is that, do you understand that, Black boys are not even graduating from high school? Their graduation rate is like now, it was like 32, now it's 29%. It's like 29%. That's not Black boys not wanting to learn. There's something being engineered there. So instead of sitting up on TV talking about it, we need to come together, sit down. How can we get money together, have a different school? Because I barely made it through public school, and I was smart because them teachers were horrible. We already know what the problem is. We need to get our kids out of these damn schools. So how do we sit down and talk about it? And then how do we get on code about it? And then not listen to any ever until we get our kids out of school. And then there's another group that says we got to get business going. Let's sit down.
I can say this as a mom because you said get your kids out of school. If you can't get your kids out of school, be the better influencer. Be the better influencer. Be the one that knows how your kid is thinking so that your kid's thoughts are reiterated to these liberal, progressive, gay, lesbian, transgender, ABC people who want to convert them to their lifestyle. You need to be the stronger sounding board in your child's head, in your family member's head, in your aunt, your uncles, your grandparents' head, because if your voice is not the sounding voice, the unity of what I'm hearing Flagship is saying, look, we need to come together and go quiet, but we need to come off as one. We need to be like a Borg on Star Trek.
Right.
Can I say something? Flagship, I gotta say something. I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings by saying this. This is just something to add into what you were asking, Shirley. We need someone, and I'm gonna throw in a name, former president. We need someone that's not gonna be driven by money. And I say this to say, we had an ex-president by the name of Barack Obama.
Oh God!
I don't know how much he was worth back then. Right. I don't know how much money he was worth. Oh shoot! Don't do it, Flagship. I don't know how much money he was worth back then. But if you do the history or do some homework on Barack Obama, he's like rich. Now I'm not doing a comparison with him and Trump, but Trump, he's not driven by money. When we speak of someone being educated and put in position, let's go back there, Flagship, in a way, not taken away from the topic, Shirley, where it was always about change. At one point, it was change. So once again, Shirley, it's like, what happened? I'm still going with the comparison of the Black Panther and the movement and being a beast. There was a time, it was not a time, but back then it was like, this was that man that was gonna somewhat say, go off of his word change. What happened with that? It goes back to what you asked. How do you become one step before? I mean, what does it take? How can you become one step? And that's a big question. That's the $1 million question. That's the Jeopardy question. Like how? Who can it be? Will it be someone that can't be bought? Does it take a billionaire? So when someone tries to come up and rub your back, you rub mine, and smoochy, just get all smoochy up against you. It's like, you know what? You can't buy me. I'm here to do what I need to do. I know right from wrong, and I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to do my job, and it's been long enough, biblically or non-biblically, pretty much biblically, because we know this is spiritual warfare. We know all in all, and the other ones out there know that it's wrong. It's wrong. We've been going through this too long. And now we're on this end, Shirley, trying to figure out a way. We're just, even if it's just brainstorming. And as you said, Flagship, we got to have groups and put groups together. We've been doing this from, you said, Tyreek, Umar, Yvette Carnell, you name it. Michi, yourself, Shirley, trying to scratch our heads, pull our heads out until we're almost bald headed to figure out a way. How is it that every time we look up, we figure out a way, we know a way, we can't even get to the promised land? It's insane. What is it? These ones are in position. You look up, they're going in the right direction. Flagship, catch it now. All of a sudden, hey, I decided I changed my mind. But we were so close, or at least we were trying. All of a sudden, somewhere something gets in there. Have you all noticed? And it just goes in another direction. 4 more years pass. We go at it again. Each time, I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat or whichever, it's like, yo, we never got there. What was all that time? By the time we look up, we got gray hair and missing teeth. And we like, look at how the time done passed. Did we get anything accomplished?
Always. I mean, really, what you're saying, how do we, these are patterns. These are historical patterns, right? Like, okay, we feel we got it now. We know the law. We quote the law. We live the law. We use the law against them, and they rewrite the law and circumvent us. It's like you keep circumventing us, and now not only.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back, you guys.
Huh?
Okay, he's back. He was gone for a minute. Yeah, he's back.
I had to get away because I heard Obama, so I had to get off the phone. So I'm back now. What happened?
I'm just joking. No, it's all good. But no, go ahead, show you.
I heard everything. I heard everything you said.
I know you did.
I heard everything.
It's all good.
Okay,
but yeah, Shirley.
Nick Rosenhaus got joked. But if we look at the fact that historically we are constantly being circumvented, we are constantly being told one thing versus the other. My question to you, gentlemen, is how do we get, if we know the A and we know if we follow A, B is coming, how do we get prepared for the C? What is the C to know that B is going to come? We know they're going to change it. So what do we do?
It has to first start with a code. Of us. It doesn't have to be a large group. That's the whole thing. You don't need 55 billion people, because once you have a small group that's on code, people will start leading. Let me give you a case in point. And it's a bad point, but it's his point. Charles Manson. His code was, we just gonna go kill these damn celebrities. And he got a small little group together and they started causing havoc. Period. Now let's change it to a positive. We want to get, like, for example, I was using before, we want to get our kids into a school that's going to be productive and empowering for them. So when they graduate, when they're 18, they can at least have something positive, and whether it be coding or know how to fly planes or know how to be experts in global supply chains and or know how to do shipping routes and so on and so forth. We're gonna focus on getting schools open specifically for that. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to not talk about anything else. We don't care about your kids being whatever religion. This is what we're going to focus on. And then people will follow because you're not going to be unmoved. What happens is that, there's a lot of other things like the FBI, they have COINTELPRO where they go out and get people targeted assassinations, whether it be, killings and car accidents, so on and so forth. But if we get on code in small groups, people will fall in line. Like case in point, Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, I'm sorry, not Dr. Umar Johnson, but what's his name? What's that called? The real estate guy, Morris guy, who did the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Now, this is an example of we wanted to get on code with it, but he was just the wrong person. So, but the thing is, like, Shirley, we're urban game changers. You are a person who has the credibility to get stuff done. There's a lot of credible Black people that can get this stuff done, but we have to get on code and focus on one thing to fix and fix that one thing and then keep it moving.
Flagship, let me throw in one and to add on to what you all might disagree on this, but I'm gonna add on to what you just said. I just turned it on now because I had to get the name of it. I just turned on Netflix. As of I think 2 nights ago, I have to catch up with it. I'm on season 1, episode 2. The group, I'm gonna say it. Drum roll, please. The group.
Oh Lord Jesus.
And you mentioned Shirley with Urban Game Changers. Shout out to her with Urban Game Changers. I'm looking at right now inside Flagship, inside the Freemasons. Now there is at least 6 million. I'm just saying, there's at least 6 million Freemasons in the United States. I don't know about the world, but within the United States. And I looked at it. When you spoke of code, you brought that to mind, Flagship. I said, now look at this group. They have it where this is the first ever. They've never, just by name alone, of course, have been able to get inside the organization of the Freemasons. But they're so organized and so on code, looking like they could be 1,000,000 years old. But they got it to the point to where it's like, you're not just going to get in, but we on code. And we have a code of conduct. We have standards. We have everything that you could think of. You could clown us and make jokes of us or this and the other. But when you hear that name, it's like, yo, Just hearing that name,
We ain't
and
playing.
they said it. They say we ain't not playing. They say they got the, people talk about skull and bones and all this and secret society, this and the other. They say it's not that bad. We got our secrets, but it ain't that bad. You know what I mean? But they got on code to where it's like, yo, you're not gonna come and mess with us. And that's what we need, Flagship and Shirley.
First.
That's what we need. Exactly. I had to throw that in. I'm still
Because here's
watching
the thing.
it, but I'm like, woo, the Freemasons. There you go. Go ahead, Flagship.
And here's the thing. It's just what people understand. It's like you can have, say for example, we had $1 trillion today. If you have a group that's not on code, guess what? That money's gonna be gone in a second. That's why you have to have the mindset, like you said, make sure your body's right, make sure your mind's right. Get on code first. Have a mission first. Break down everything. Get your talking points together, and then you go to finance.
Let me just say this, and I love you guys. I love you. I'm just gonna give you a different perspective. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm just going to give you a different perspective because the problem with being on code is that a lot of us aren't. The problem with being on code is social media is so nosy. These people are all in our backyard. We done told them all the ways we talk. They done learned all our jive situation. You saw in that video, they said the FBI had cameras all on us. So it's
that's right.
They got filtrators. Look how Malcolm X got taken down by a black man. They got filtrators. They got people filtrated. You said it earlier. They know the code, and then when they do, they go take it and tell them about it.
No, I'm not talking about code like codes, how to speak. I'm talking about being on code, meaning that we are a group of people that are undivisible. That are indivisible, meaning that you ain't gonna come in here, we ain't telling nobody. If you're gonna come at me, FBI, you're gonna take me down. I'm gonna tell everybody on you. I'm talking about a code of this is what we're gonna do. And I don't care if I die or not.
Look at this, what you just said. Their code, I mentioned the Freemasons, their code is so tight. Didn't I just say, I was joking, but I was being for real. These Freemasons are older men, looking like they up in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, meaning like from health to mind and mindset, everything about them, even their careers. They don't look like no broke Freemasons, just starting out. Like I was mentioning to you about the homeless example. These are ones that are established. They have such a code, Shirley, check it out. They have such a code to where it's like, look, ain't nobody just coming up in here. And you're not just going to come in and go back to whoever you came from and tell all our secrets and tell this and the other. They're so tight. And it's almost like they can weed out the ones that's like, you know what, this ain't for you. It's like it don't even take that long. They ain't even gonna give you an opportunity for someone to run back and be like, I wrote a book. I'm gonna tell all this and this and the other. And if that was the case, they wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have lasted for years. They say they go way back in hundreds of years, the Freemasons. This is something that we don't have. And it's like we're struggling with this because we know the answers. We got the answers. We got all these hijackers. We always got someone intercepting, and we can never get farther than we're supposed to. You know what I mean? We can't even get farther across the street, let alone downtown. I'm just giving an example. We can't even get into the next state as far as what we're trying to do, our mission, our plans, our ideas, just to get there. You know what I mean? Just the opportunity. Everywhere you look, boom, brick wall, boom, a mountain, boom, this, not even a bridge, to be like, finally you opened up the gates and now we can cross over. Oh, the sea is parted. We don't even get that. So it's a problem. And we'll be banging our heads until the ends of times. And that's just being honest. We know it. It's not right, but it is. And in history, once again, it's going to repeat itself. Sad to say, you know it is. We try to fight it. We try to keep hope alive, but we're going to run against it. It's just something that's just set to where it's like, it's almost like saying, I'm not saying whatever faith you are, don't believe, keep believing, but at the same time, no, don't stop keeping hope alive, but understand that it's like it's set this way. Don't give up, but it's set this way. But whatever at the end of the rainbow, whatever the results are, I couldn't tell you, Shirley. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, all what we're going through, I can't put my finger on what is this all for. You know how you think, like, if I keep playing the game, if I keep doing this and doing the right thing, I'm doing this. You get it, Flagship. I'm turning in my paperwork. I'm trying to go after the laws and petition and do this and do that. What, at the end, what is the end result? Not just how does this end? As if we could read the future. Like okay, I'm doing everything. Maybe there's going to be a outcome of this to say, you know what? Woo, all this work that we did, that's what it was for. Like going back to the ancestors, all that was going on, all the fighting and all of what happened, what they went through, and what they died for. It's like a reversal. You get what I'm saying? It's like a slap in the face. To be like, all this that happened.
I do get what you're saying, but I think what comes to mind for me is strategy and patterns. Strategy and patterns. And power taking and power taking. Because if people do like Flagship said earlier, you got these people, they want to go ahead and lay hands on people and pray with the president. Ain't no other culture of people out there laying hands on the president. They are going to the president.
Thank you.
My proposal. Here's my executive order. Here's the ideas that we have been coming to you asking about for our community. These people have a clear agenda, okay? They have patterns of producing agendas. We have patterns of laying hands and praying and believing God.
Fuck all that.
It's like, I can say that if you're a younger generation, please do not follow the old generation with that madness. And I'm a Christian. I believe in praying. I believe in laying on hands.
I believe in laying on hands.
That is way out of line when it comes to trying to get legislation in place. If we're going to beat the system or ingrain ourselves to be respected by the system, then we need to at least play a better game of chess. Can we all agree with that? Can we all agree?
I agree with you, Shirley, 100%. But can I say something too on top of that?
Go ahead, Flagship. Yeah.
I want
Just
to
exercise.
But I want to finish my thought, and then I'm gonna let
Go ahead, Shirley.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, Shirley.
We look to the fact that those patterns are stagnant. We are become a stagnant nation of people. We're not growing. We're dying, and we're targeted. I mean, now, and then we're used. You're using black pain to pivot to something else. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Oh, by the way, you want to buy some shoes? Black Lives Matter. We gotta help the LGBT ABCD people. Black Lives Matter. Let's replace Ancient Mama with a transgender man. That's gonna be the situation. That's
Shirley, don't make me throw up.
Flagship. Oh shoot!
Show the other night.
I didn't even know that.
LGBT
wow.
Who looks like a woman, big fat blob. And he says, listen, and I want to help the children. They're acting with black children. These people are always pivoting after your children and your family. That's why I said black family first. If you're not going to put black family first, if we can't identify there's a problem in the room, we ain't going to get to the next level, people.
No,
we're not.
But Shirley, Flagship, recall the young man that got shot in his apartment. Do you all recall by the non-black cop, the female cop? Do you all remember that? And when she was in court, who gave her a hug? Who gave her that hug?
Oh, Amber Geiger.
Right. Yeah. Did y'all recall? Do you all recall that? And when I saw that, when I saw that on social media, I was like, see, that goes back to what you said, Shirley, all this patting and holding hands and hugging. And it's like, well, what is this? See, this is what we're dealing with.
Can I say something? And this is and all the Christians in the room, you need to cover your ears because I'm about to take it to you for real, and I don't care who's offended.
Right.
We need to talk about first, really quickly. Everyone who's for Jesus. Guess who was there for slavery? Jesus. Who was there for convict leasing? Jesus. Who was there for lynching? Jesus. Who was there for bug breaking? Jesus. We was holy dancing. We was all the figure time. We was doing that little holy dance song that comes on. And guess what? Yeah. After these churches, these Christians were still lynching us and castrating us. Yeah. Jesus all day, and it all happened. It wasn't until we harnessed Ogun. Guess how Haiti was liberated? All the Christians were traitors, and they were all killed off. Dessalines killed all them, and then they started the revolution early. They harnessed Ogun. They did a voodoo ritual, and they slaughtered. They said they must burn down the entire island to get rid of these. To get rid of these. And they had no guns, no mechanized nothing. And who was with them? It was the Slavic Polish people. They were the ones who were pretending to be French to get behind enemy lines to tear up all their ammunition. And that's what has to happen. The thing is, what happens is that that's why every single time there's an unarmed police shooting, they always bring out the pastor. You got to forgive. Christianity has destroyed our community because in voodoo and African spirituality, there is no forgiveness. There's justice or vengeance. That's what I'm talking about. I'm done.
Okay,
I'm not looking to know Jesus for nothing.
I challenge you because I'm a Christian. So I would not use the word that Christianity. I would say religion has destroyed our community. As a believer in Christ Jesus, I believe that every man should know the Lord and every man needs to have a mediator in their life.
Oh, I know him. I know who he is. He's brutal and evil.
Okay, and you believe he's brutal, but I think what you're seeing is a religious Pharisee culture of Christians that have dominated in our community, and they're not true believers. They're not true representations of Christ. And that includes white people as well, who have been demonically using the name of Jesus and Christ for their plight. I think that those who have a relationship with God understand God, but those who use the name of God and the name of Jesus in an unorthodox manner, in an unorthodox way, it has caused confusion within the community. Now, within the Black church, the problem that I see is that we have more religion than we do faith-abiding Christians. So it becomes convoluted for someone who is not a Christian, who says, well, you Christians. I don't look at them people as Christian. Them people, if they were Christians, they would do what the Bible says, but guess what they do? They don't do it. So they don't practice what they preach. So if they're not going to practice what they preach, don't take them for what they say they are. They're hypocrites. They're Pharisees.
But Shirley, this goes way back. I'm just cutting in. Recall when they took it out of schools? I've been following this for a minute now. I remember when they took all this out of schools, they started with the children first, as if like they knew, as if like we're going to start there and we're going to work our way all the way up. And from there, I'm not saying that was the cause of the chaos, but they knew as far as strategy, the ones in position, they had a strategy and they started in that position to where almost this is where we are now. This is where we're at as we speak. Starting with that in school, with religion, not putting my finger on if it's Christian, Buddhism, Muslim, any type of religion, but they knew to take that prayer out of school and to target the children. And it's not stopping. And they're even working with the young when it comes to the Black Lives Matter, the youth right now in their 20s, not even 30s yet. They know strategically what they're doing. They know.
But I also think they're playing because God's taking his hand off, and that's why you see all this chaos. So let me say this. I'm going to give 10 more minutes to the show. I want you gentlemen to provide solutions. Let's leave the family with a call of action. I don't like believing that we're just here to just talk and say hope and pray and give a lot of good educational knowledge of who we are as a culture of people. I think that's all good and well. But I do want to leave with an idea that we know that there's a call of action as far as solutions. So when we look at Rona, and going back to the subject matter of D.L. Hughley and the money loss that he's going through, and many of us all are affected by Rona, how we're making it work or not work. What are 3 things, if you each could say, let's start off with one, we'll go 1, 1, 1, and then we'll all end up putting 3 on the table. So what would be your first one thing that you would say regarding changing your patterns, finding out a new rhythm so that you can be effective in the future and having a better outcome of whatever you're doing? I'll start off with Flagship. I really like his entrepreneurial ideas, but Flagship, if you had to give the first one, what would be the first one? Don't give all 3 at one time. Give us the first one solutions for pattern changing to deal with the coronavirus mirror compared to some of these celebrities who have a reality and don't have reality.
Have we already talked about assessing your own life? Is that what we've already talked about? So we're just talking about after we've assessed and already make the decision what we do next, or we got to start with assess, or where are we starting? What position? What part are we starting?
I like that. So you're saying assessment. The first thing we need to do, one of the ideas you think we should do is assess ourselves. Elaborate on that.
So in order to do anything, you have to self-assess yourself. Self-assess your finances, self-assess your patterns, self-assess your behaviors and things of that nature. And then also self-accept yourself so you know your strengths and limitations. Like, for example, like Michael Jordan, he's a phenomenal basketball player. He's not so good in baseball. So if you know that you're really, really great at, numbers and accounting and finance, stay in that lane. Don't try to go over here to, something that's other than that. Know your strengths and know your weaknesses, know your capabilities, and know what you cannot do. So then when it comes time to join an organization or a company, you can sit there and talk about your strength and pretty much say that these are other opportunities for fixing. But then you know that these are your strengths. This is what you can do, what you can bring to the table. And then people can go ahead and say, okay, I can guarantee that piece from you. And then over here, I can get something else. So self-assessment, self-assess your finances, your mindset, your body, your health, and then know your strengths and weaknesses. I think that's first things first.
I love that. Self-assessment. All right. Black, full circle. What is your first gig? Yeah, you both all got to come up with three. What is your number three? What is one of your
I don't know if this falls in the line of what you're asking, but I'm going to pick just one thing. I'm going to split it off. I'm picking health because health goes from health, you have wealth. Health equals wealth. And when I say that, not just wealth, money and finances, I'm looking at it mentally, spiritually, and physically. Without my health, good health, I don't have anything. You get what I'm saying? I have nothing, but I branch that off. Mentally, I have to be able to have what I take in, knowledge, education. I can block off and protect what I take in, and I can take out what I don't need. You know what I mean? Mentally. Spiritually, you can call it what you want, from religion or your faith. You got to believe in something. You have to have something to believe in. You be atheist. I'm not against those ones who are atheists, but believe in something. Spiritually. Physically, I mentioned, as we were just having the conversation, I was working out.
Well, hold on, full circle.
Yes.
Hold on, full circle. You just mentioned what I just mentioned. You need a new one, bro. A new one. I'm sorry, love you to bits, but you need a new one, bro.
I guess I was.
You gotta get a new one, bro. A new point.
You did good because see, self-assessment. I just put the definition up there. It's the process of looking at oneself in all.
Yeah, I did health and all that. I did all health and all that kind of stuff. So you get a new one, bro.
But he said health. I'm
yeah.
Great on that health.
Was that good enough or no? Or
good. I think that's good because about health when it comes to eating.
Right.
No, that was not good enough. We will take it though. We love you.
Well, I say it because we don't focus on that. Because many of us have diabetes and we're focused on everything else, but at the same time,
where's the chat room? Come on, chat. Back me up, chat.
We don't even focus on health enough because we got all this other stuff going on, and good as well. When our health is gone, it's like, we got all this money, we got all this knowledge, but we can't do nothing with it. We can't even pass it on to anyone. And our eating, we know that could be up to notch. We need some help on that. And we don't really, push that enough. But I give it to you, Flagship. Like you said, no, I just thought I'd, go into depth on that. I think that's really important. That should be a part of our focus. But that's just
C minus.
All right. I told you to paper to the professor.
We need another one. We need another one from you.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Shirley.
We're gonna say we are gonna share. Now you know what? Be nice, Flagship. Because I do with him. I do believe that health and physical, mental assessment, well-being is much different than what you said, which was self-assessment. If you look at these definitions, these are two different situations. Do they cross over? Absolutely, they're going to cross over. They have to cross over because they both coincide. So here's someone coinciding with you. You cannot dismantle that. Okay, so here's my piece of puzzle that I want to put on the table. If someone doesn't give you power, you need to take it. Power. You have to understand who has the power, who doesn't have the power, and how you need to leverage that power. And that's not a word that we talk within the Black community because we've been so devalued and power has been so taken away from us that we've been beaten down very bad. If we don't understand that power can equate to wealth, it can equate to opportunities, it can equate to leveraging ourselves, but you need to say, who is the most powerful person in this room? And if you're going to be the most person in the room, the most powerful person in the room, then you need to demand for people to hear your voice. I had a friend I said, I want to show you something. I said, watch, when I walk in the room, oxygen leaves. He said, oh, wow. And it happened. I said, I didn't say anything. I just walked in the room and the people go, Shirley Hussar's here. Okay, here we go. Well, why are you all saying like that? What are you expecting me to do? You know, that's what goes through my head, but I don't say anything. I just get quiet and own the space. I own the moment and I own the power. The question I say to myself, as I preach to you, I preach to myself, Shirley, what are you going to do with the responsibility, the power that God has has blessed you with? You all have certain powers and certain dreams of doing things. My question to you is, what are you doing with that power during COVID-19? So my word is power. I pass the baton to Flagship. Flagship, what is your second word if mine is power?
Sorry, I was oppressed again. Sorry about that. No, but the next thing that I want to say is, I think, like I said earlier, your self-assessment, which also includes health and knowing what your limitations and your strengths and weaknesses. The second thing is to be on code with yourself, be on code with, you know, if you're going to join an organization, be on code with that mission and make sure that you would do whatever it takes to sustain it and not let the outside people come in or the traders come in and destroy it. Be on code, be on your mission, and because that's the start of everything. You can start off, like for example, I can bring up the Haitian Revolution, is the fact that they were on code. They didn't have any money. They had no mechanized weapons. They were like, bump this. We about to beat the brakes off these cats. I don't give a damn. We need to get these people out of the paint. And without any money, anything, they were on code and they won. Being on code wins. Period. Because once you're on code and once you're about serious, everything else, the money, the financing, the ways, the mission, the, you know, whatever deities, they see they're going to start doing things for you. Those things are going to start happening for you. And so I think being on code, after your self-assessment, after health, after what you said, that's the next thing.
Being on code. So if we were going to put ourselves on code today, what is you need to elaborate a little bit more for me when you said being on code. If we're going to be on code, how do we start? I mean, give me something small to start.
For example, with myself or my business, or that's kind of like as our people. Like, for example, like the biggest problem that we have right now is, I'm sorry?
Pick one.
Like for example, with my business, like for example, I know my limitations. I know what I need to do to get my mind right. Things that nature. I know my health. And so I said, so my thing is, I'm being on code, meaning I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure this business rises to the top. Right now. I did my business. I did my business plan. I did my marketing plan, and I'm with my strengths, with my weaknesses, and things of that nature. And I'm gonna make sure that my products will be beneficial to my community first. I know who my base is. My base are Black people. I'm not going to do anything outside of that first. I'm going straight to my people first. I'm going to be on code with the problems that we have studied and done the research with our skin, what we need, and I'm focusing on that. And I'm going to stay within my range, stay within my strengths, and I'm going to cater to my people, hire my people. I'm going to empower my people as best as I can, and I'm going to stay on that path. And I'm not going to let somebody come in and say, oh, well, you'll be the bomb if you do rosacea treatments. Black folks ain't got rosacea. When we go outside, we absorb the sun. We don't get red with the sun. So that's getting off code. That's off code behavior.
Me. I'm next. I'm next, Shirley. Like in school. I'm next. Me, Shirley. I'm gonna pick leverage. And when I say leverage, financially.
Hold on. You owe us. Hold on, you owe us two, because the first one is still kind of janky. So you still owe us two.
So is leverage bad? And I mean financially, having the power to use my finances and resources. Is that bad?
That's one of two. Leverage is good. I love that, but you need one more.
Okay. I'll come back with another one, but for right now, I got leverage. I'll come back for you, Professor, with the other one. But I'm using leverage right now.
Yeah. No joking right now. This is
Yeah,
very serious.
leverage, Shirley.
Leverage. Okay, so yours is leverage. Explain leverage. Let's be serious.
Like I said, yeah, just to be able to have the you mentioned power, to be able to influence with what I have, my resources and finances, to add to a collective, a group of thinkers, a think tank, or thinking Black men and Black women, in order to be put in position to change things, such as the laws. Laws is a major thing that we bypass, and that has not been worked on. Time after time, year after year, we've complained, Black men, Black women, namely Black men, about these laws being needing to be changed. So we need some leverage. We need some type of gain, because so far nothing has happened, and we know that's just as important. We got George Floyd, for example. What's going on? That's been hijacked, and we got the Black Lives Matter. But at the same time, we see nothing's going to happen. The laws are just being mentioned, talked about. It's just a conversation, but it's not being changed. So we need some leverage. So I don't know. That helped. So anybody, somebody.
Love that. That's a good one.
Was that good? Okay.
Keyword one.
I was on mute.
I was so quiet. I thought, sorry, not with the jokes. I was like, man, was that okay? Okay. All right.
That was a good one.
Thank you, Flagship. Yeah.
That was good. If we don't learn how to leverage the opportunity, but we need money to leverage. So I'm going to
absolutely.
I'm going to go to money. That's what I'm going to say. If we
don't, there we go.
The money.
Yep.
To do what we need to do, we cannot leverage. So whatever money that you're requiring through COVID-19 or family members, you might want to barter. I'm going to go leverage. No, I'm going to say money barters. I know that's two in there, but I think you should barter and leverage.
No, I understand that. That's cool.
Okay, good. So Flagship gave a green light to that one. I think that we need to take our money and then we need to barter whatever we have, because let's say you don't have any money. But if you don't have any money, then you need to leverage who you know in the situation to work in your best interest. Like you say, okay, well, you fix windows and I do plumbing, and then you save your money so that you can leverage it in a different way and have good health. And so you stay on code and build your community of self-empowerment.
There you go. That's 100.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Flagship, your turn.
Yep.
Last word.
Oh goodness. You said money. Then you have to also. Oh, okay. Here we go. You need your team. You need your team with your community and your team. So okay, so you got so we already done your self-assessment. You got yourself on code with whatever mission that you personally want to do, whether it be a business, whether it be you want to help Black people with school or this or that. You got your code. Then you got we leverage your politician, whatever laws, things of that nature. You get your money, your barter. Now you need a team, because one person cannot do everything on yourself, and that's one thing that we keep doing. We keep doing everything on our own. This lone wolf stuff. Get a team and get them. And then have them get on code with everything else that we already discussed. So you need a team, a loyal, we're going over the cliff team. You can say whatever you want to say about the Klan, but those people were on code and they had a team, from prosecutors to judges to everything. You got to get your team together. Rhonda, how was that one?
I keep muting myself. I think that was excellent. Elaborate a little bit more on the team, though. I think people need to understand. Team. We're not talking about a baseball team, but we're talking about a team of attorneys, mentors.
Right.
About a team. People who are going to encourage you. People who are going to add value. These are the team players that you're speaking of.
You need your in the context of business. In the context of business, you need to make sure you have your team, you have your accounting team, because you need to make sure you're within code of the tax code, your financing team. You need to make sure you have people that are around you that have skills and tangible skills to bring to the table to help your business grow. If you're talking about the political realm to get something done, you need to make sure you have your team of people who can lobby Congress or lobby city councils and things of that nature to get what you need. You also need your legal team to where people go to jail, whatever, they can get you out of jail. You need to make sure that you're a part of the right, clubs and organizations that can empower your business or empower your political endeavors. Just make sure you have you have a team of people that are going to empower you, so therefore you're moving forward. Unlike my situation, I had people that just took from me and took me backwards. So live your failure through my failure, and have a team that's going to propel you and your mission forward. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right, full circle. You got one last one. What's the last one you got?
Education. I need, and this goes back, Flagship. I know I owe you one. I don't need someone that just has a degree, a bachelor's degree, but dumb as a rock. I don't need someone who's like speaking for us, but the words that come out of their mouth, like Chris Tucker, is like, what did you just say? Come again? We need those ones that are totally educated across the board. Like, for example, that interview with Angela Stanton, I had to write her name down, but the interview that just happened not too long ago, whatever came at Angela Stanton, and I'm not playing the role of like, oh, he said a black woman, so I did. I don't care, Shirley, Flagship, if it's a black woman, black man, we need those ones in position that are educated, that whatever comes at them, we were on that last 2 weeks on that whole thing of being in a position to be able to speak for us. That takes someone that's educated, that knows what they're talking about, that stands for us. And when they're going to stand for us, whatever hits them, they know how to answer the question correctly and clearly. Total intellectuals. They can speak fluently. It doesn't take 3 or 4 languages, but by the time they're done, the interviewer gets it. And they understand that we're not playing. So we need that one that's educated. So that's my last one, Shirley. Education.
That's wonderful. I'm sorry, I couldn't mute myself.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that one? Education. I think it's such an overused word, but such an important word. I think within the Black community, I think sometimes we're overly educated. But the question of
I think that's very important. That's excellent.
But I think using that knowledge of what we do know to our advantage makes a world of difference. Okay, so my final word would be balanced. I think that in all that we've
interesting
is that we need balance.
Right, that's a good one.
We need balance.
Ooh, that's a damn.
If we're not balanced, we're not going to be able to juggle all that we know, because we're so passionate, we're so energetic, and we're so knowledgeable, we're so educated, we have confidence, we know how to leverage. But in all of that, it's like, oh, something's not right. I need to balance myself.
Shirley, it's so funny. I had that word on my chalkboard too. I erased it. You can't see it now, but that's funny that you mentioned that. Like Flagship said, I was like that too, because I didn't even think of that tonight. So bravo. That's a good one.
So bad.
Oh, please don't try to mess up when we messed up earlier. Oh, hell no. You're right, Professor. Try to take her thunder.
Right. But good one, Shirley. You're right. But you're right, Shirley. That's good. We need that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. On a serious note, we need that. It is.
And
because a lot of times. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, if you could just sit down and strategize a plan, the plan will balance you. Sometimes we hold too much information in our head.
Right.
Too much. We share too much information. Look up somebody that took our idea, or someone that stole from us. We gotta stop all that. We just gotta sit back and say, okay, here's the situation. I'm not balanced here. Let me get balanced. So when you come at me, I'm cool, because I got my shit all together. I done laid my stuff all out. I know how to cook this fried chicken. I know how to lay out this turkey. I know how to do a good soul food spread. You can't tell me nothing, because I'm prepared, and I have balanced this from a savory to a sweet to a hot to a pepper, to a salt to a tanginess to a bitterness. I've got it all. You need bitterness.
Right.
I can compensate for it. But if I'm not balanced and I'm all over the place, that's where we're going to have a fault. So
Yes.
anyway, I appreciate you gentlemen so much. Thank you guys so much for watching and being on our show. How can these people reach either one of you guys? I'll give you a few minutes to share how they can reach you or hear about you, because I hear all the time, well, we love Flagship. How can we listen to him more? We love Full Circle. You know, how can they follow you on Instagram or Facebook or
I don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go first. You have the mic.
Who, me or Full Circle?
Me, I know you do Flagship.
No, it's you, Flagship. It's you.
Oh, I'm not on social media at all. So if you want to hear me, I'm on Shirley Husar's channel. I'm also a moderator on Kiki Green's channel as well, but I don't really talk on her channel that much. I just moderate for her. But I talk on Shirley's channel all the time. I really try to stay kind of low key, because the fact that, you know, these liberals, they will go after your job, your money, and so on and so forth. It's all I want to be as low key as I possibly can. But the thing is that but then at the same point in time, these liberals are so outrageous. I just have to at least come out and just give the family, you know, just an opinion of someone who went into corporate America, believing that, you know, we move beyond all this craziness, and to let you know, no, we have not. I want to tell you give you the receipt and the information and give you historical context, because a lot of the history has been distorted. So when we talk about these topics, I want to bring a historical context to the present, so you can kind of give you my personal opinion about what I've gone through. And that's all it is. I just come in as a regular dude who reads history, who understands patterns, and just want to kind of share with people.
I appreciate that. I think you are a wonderful and empowering person, and I truly love you and I adore you. You're my sidekick, and I just think you're a beautiful person. I really enjoy you. I love.
And if I do, and one more thing too is, if I do have my own show, guess who's going to run it? Who's going to own it? Shirley. Period. She will own the show. Because the thing is, that's how you make both in the community. Because she put me on, she gave me my shot, she gets a piece. That's how you roll.
That's right. That's good. I like that. That's right.
There you go.
Nice.
But you know, it goes back to balance, right? Because I should be able to not look over my shoulder and worry and be like, okay, Demetrius got that. I'm not worried about it. Oh, Shirley's got that. I'm not worried about it. This is part of the balance. We balance each other out. We do. And if we cross each other sometimes, family, don't be upset if we talk over each other. It's because we're so excited. We're so excited to share with you such good information. We value what you do. Please put the thumbs up and likes on this video. It makes a world of difference if you share it on your social media platform, because self-empowerment is the key thing, and balance and understanding that we have to stay on code with each other. If we don't talk to each other, ain't nobody gonna talk to us. I'm telling you that. Full Circle, how can they follow you on Instagram or Facebook, or what would you like to say?
Likewise, like Flagship, I gave it up 2020 of January as far as social media, because it can get kind of like crazy and scary and weird. So the only way you can find me is, like, for example, on your show, Shirley, when I pop in, or on other shows, other channels where I'm a moderator, I like to chime in and pop in. And it's pretty much when it's like content that's creative, you know, coming straight from the heart. Wise, a lot of wise minds out there, you know, they have a lot to offer. So that's when I'll pop in. But you'll find me out there. If you don't see my name in the title, you know, I'm usually on the back end. But for example, on your show, that's pretty much where you'll find me. And I love coming on your show. I'm in a space and a time right now where I want to just grow, Shirley. I'm at an age and a time in my life where it's all about growth. All about growth. And that's where I'm at in my life.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I think we all need to grow. I think that self-evaluation of that Rona mirror, don't fight it, embrace it, face it, and challenge it. And within that challenge of that coronavirus mirror, realize that God has not forsaken you. He's not left you, but there is a self-responsibility that you have to play. You can't pivot and just cast that upon someone else. You can't compare your lives to someone else. You have to look at your own life, your own assessments, and your own judgments. And by doing that, you have a plan of action, and that will balance you out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and look forward to our other videos coming up soon. Make sure you make a donation to our Cash App if you've enjoyed our videos, and if you want to see more of them, let me know, because you know we do this for free. And so any donation that you make makes a world of difference. By giving it to the Cash App, it comes immediately to me, and that makes me extra happy. Either way you come, support. If you can't give any money, get the thumbs up, share the video, make comments after this video. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you feel your top 3 motivational things that are going to do to leave you with a solution or a plan of action, a call of action in your life. If there's something we didn't say that you feel it was a call of action, please put it in the comments below after this video has sealed off, and look forward to bringing more amazing videos in the future. God bless you and good night.
Good night, Shirley. Good night, Black Sheep. Thank you.